fans.
Yeah, that would be rough.
Washington fans.
Yeah. One stop, as Jamar Chase was saying walking down the tunnel. One effing stop. Or Chase Brown saying, finish the effing game. I don't think the offense is happy with the defense there in Cincinnati.
Who would have thought spending your entire payroll on 3 guys offensively would come back to bite you?
I wouldn't have thought that. I would not have guessed that, not for a second.
When you can get same production by Joe Flacco.
Yeah, that's right. 913-3810-810 is the phone number, 913-912-4810. Text line to be a part of the show, part of the conversation. So they lose the game, and my takeaway initially is, like, I'm watching the game, and it's like, doesn't feel like the Chiefs we've seen the last month or so. Really, the last 6 games. They won 5 out of 6, and it's like that Jags game was weird. It's crazy. A number of things happening in that game. The 13 penalties, the final drive by the Jags, the slip and fall, get up, stumble, Ruski play, and scoring a touchdown. The things that took place in that game where you go, they probably should have won it. Last night felt way more like the Chargers game, first week of the season, where they were fighting an uphill battle throughout that game. It's the second time this year where I've come away from the loss going, they weren't the better team on the field that day. Eagles sort of back and forth. We've talked about this before. Eagles felt back and forth. Jags, I thought they were the better team on the field. But this particular game and week 1, the better team on the field won that game with the Chargers and the Bills. And there are a number of issues and things we can get into. But reality is, in some of the bigger moments, they didn't make the plays. But also, it just looked like your Buffalo Bills regular season game yet again. Like we've seen that year after year after year. 5 years in a row, in fact. But this one is a little bit different because neither team is winning their division. Neither team is fighting for the, winner of this is going to get the number 1 seed. That's been sort of the storyline and the backdrop of all of these regular season games. And you come away from this game, and yes, today, if this season ended, the Chiefs would not be in the playoffs. Yeah, we know that. They've got the bye week now, and they're 2 games behind the Broncos. These are the things we talked about going into the game of what the impact was for a Chiefs win or a Chiefs loss. And what I said on Friday was the best way for the Bills to go to the Super Bowl is to not play the Chiefs. The best way to not play the Chiefs is to make sure they don't get into the playoffs. And so Chiefs sitting out of the playoffs right now, it's a different feel because of the standings. If the Chiefs had played better against the Chargers or found a way to knock off the Jags, didn't throw an interception against the Eagles down at the goal line or an interception against the Jags down at the goal line, then we might be coming away with this feeling the exact same. Of like, they lost in the regular season. Well, see you in the postseason. There was that element, and there was that element from the immediate reaction after the game was over. And I had the same thing. 2 years ago really changed the way that I've watched Chiefs games. And we talked about this. When they went through the postseason and they went to Buffalo and went to Baltimore and won the Super Bowl, it was like, it's not all about, oh my God, they got to get the 1 seed. And this is like dire straits if they don't get the 1 seed. They're not going to be able to. It has been the Arrowhead Invitational. Probably not the Arrowhead Invitational this year. A lot of season left to play. They have, games against the Indianapolis Colts, Broncos, a game against the Chargers. So we'll see how the, seeding shapes up. But the sense of urgency is now heightened. The margin for error is now lessened. And they come out of this game with real things to look in the mirror about and work on, which is good. Because if you lose a game, I'd rather you lose a game and you come out of it going, this is an issue, this is an issue. We got a week to work on it. What happened? Why did it happen? And not just go, man, that Jags game was kind of screwy. It's kind of weird. You had 13 penalties. Just clean up the penalties and you'll be fine. And they cleaned up the penalties against the Lions, and they won that game. And they've won a number of these games now in a row. But there are some issues with this team in how they played last night. I will say this. I am tired of, after these games, Chiefs players going, we didn't have the energy. What are you paid for? You got 17 of them a year. Your entire year's worth of your job. It's one thing for a person that works 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year, couple weeks vacation, if that, and go, man, I just didn't feel it today. Didn't make the sale, went in there, just didn't have it that particular day. I'd been working for it, but just woke up kind of tired. Wife and I have been, struggling. Kids got a sick kid, dog sick. My car broke down, got a flat tire. Now I got to deal with tires, and I just didn't have it today. You got 17 a year. That's it. There is zero excuse for a team to come out of a game and go, we didn't match their energy. How many times this year have we said that? Preseason games, regular season games. It's inexcusable. Inexcusable. They made it through the regular season last year, winning a bunch of games, and found ways to win those games. And their 15-2 record, they probably weren't as good as the 15-2 record as the team that they were. I think they're better than the 5-4 record, but I'm tired of hearing about, we just gotta match the energy when we come out. They had more energy than we did at first part of the game. Why and how?
Yes.
Do you keep talking about that? That is inexcusable. Missing a block, it happens. Not seeing an open receiver, it happens. Missing a tackle, it happens. Falling down in coverage, it happens. Feet get tangled. Strange things occur. There's 22 guys on the field running as fast as they can. But having 5 games this year out of 9 where you go, I didn't really feel like we had the energy. Didn't really feel like we matched the energy early on. We got to start fast against these teams. That is not something where you go, here's an issue you can go and fix. You can self-scout. Because that should be natural. I'm sorry, that is not let's self-scout energy. No, let's self-scout what happened on the first down and goal at the 1-yard line. Okay, the self-scout is, let's not have Jawan Taylor have a reach block against Jordan Phillips.
Yeah.
Because if Kareem Hunt doesn't have to stop and go right, when you watch the replay, Kingsley, Creed, and Trey Smith are blocking their guys a yard deep in the end zone. But Hunt can't get there because you're asking Jawan Taylor, who is one of your worst run blockers, to make a reach block on a guy who's better than he is in the run, and he got blown up, and Kareem Hunt had to stop and go right. If he gets past Jawan Taylor's guy, he walks into the end zone.
And also, don't run out of shotgun there.
That could be one, too. There are a number of things you go, all right, let's self-scout here. They brought only 4. They pressured. They dropped 7 and played almost strictly man-to-man the whole game. You have been killing zone. They said, we're going to man you up, drop 7, and pressure you with 4.
And you knew they were going to do that, by the way. You knew.
Right.
If I told you that's what the Bills were going to do, I guarantee you Spags and the Chiefs knew that's what they were going to do. It's why you saw a little more Hollywood Brown and right. versus Juju Smith-Schuster.
Which is, okay, self-scout. Let's look in the mirror. But they have to be done with the BS about, we just didn't have the energy level. Either you didn't have the energy level or you're making an excuse for something, and that's not an excuse.
Yeah.
That's never going to be an excuse.
Rip a smelling salt if you have to. Pull an Aaron Rodgers and take it out with you on the field.
I don't understand how we're still talking about this 9 games in, going into Week 10, where Chiefs players are saying, didn't have the energy that they had at the beginning of it. It's 5 times now this year that we've discussed this. It's inexcusable.
That is more embarrassing to me than Drew Tranquill falling down, which, by the way, he was burnt either way. It wouldn't have mattered.
He had one of his worst games as a Chief.
Again, that's more embarrassing than a holding penalty. That's more embarrassing than Juwan Taylor not being able to do a reach block. That's more embarrassing than overthrowing a guy. More embarrassing than name something.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. You come out with a lack of energy. That just screams, why the bleep are you getting paid that much money? That is embarrassing. Again, is it used as an excuse, just as a catch-all, a throwaway line,
right.
and hopefully you can move on from this? But when you say you don't have the energy and you're getting paid millions of dollars, that to me is embarrassing. That is not something that you just bounce back from. I can't believe we've heard it this many times.
It's one of those things where I feel it does start up top, where we've listened to Andy Reid long enough at these Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday pressers, whatever they be after the game. he doesn't always give you much, and I feel the theme of it is always we don't get too high, we don't get too low. They could have a thrilling, comeback victory. If they would have won last night 29-28, I don't believe you would have seen any energy change from Andy Reid. He would answer questions the exact same way he's answered them
I agree.
in losses.
Yeah.
And that's where you see with the players, I don't know if they feel that it's the right answer of, you tip your cap. You got beat. We didn't match their energy. We didn't play well enough to win, because they've just been told that's how we answer the questions, right? And I'm not saying they're like the kid in school that didn't need to study and would ace all the finals, and you kind of get that arrogance of, I don't need to study. If I fail my, September test, but I ace every test after that, really doesn't matter because nobody remembers that game. But this one always seems to matter more for Buffalo because they're still chasing that postseason win. It doesn't give you the excuse, though, in 5 of these losses to go, well, we just, we do beat them in the postseason, but we didn't match their energy. It wasn't as big of a game as it was for them. No, you're 5-4 now. You're not in the playoff picture. I'm sure that's going to change, but they don't have that cushion anymore. They're not 7-1 or 9-0 like they were last year and lost this game, and you go, you still have a 3 or 4 game lead in the division. They're trailing Denver by 2. They have to go to Denver after the bye week. There are no more games they really can have where they don't match the intensity of their opponent because they face back-to-back teams out of the bye week that are 7-2. Now, it's going to be different by the time they face those teams, but why are you not ready to go for a game like this? This is not the Raiders. This is not the Titans who you see later on. It's the Buffalo Bills, the team that you want to have the head-to-head against, so you don't have to go to Buffalo in January if this matchup happens again.
Seattle preseason, Chargers, Philadelphia, New York, and now Buffalo. It's the 5th time we've heard the Chiefs come out of that game and go, we just, early on, we just got to match their energy. And again, it may just be this is how we're supposed to answer the question. It may also be well, they're not better than we are. We would have executed the game. Well, I'm not going to blame the coaches.
The Bills were so much better in this game, though,
right.
man.
But if you're I'm offering grace here where maybe I shouldn't offer the leeway of grace here, in that if you're a player and go, if I say that we didn't match the energy, then it's my fault. It's on us. Whereas if I say, well, we did this wrong or that wrong or that wrong, is that viewed as it's a coaching issue that we weren't put in the right position? No, it's our fault. Coaches did everything they could. We didn't match the energy. Either way, I'm done hearing it. I'm tired of hearing about it. And it goes back to years and years and years of Andy Reid going, the penalties, I got to get that cleaned up. Yeah, we know, but it's not a team that gets those penalties cleaned up. It typically does not. They did against the Lions. But my issue in the game yesterday is not just a loss. It's they lose the game, and it did feel like they didn't match the energy. It felt like they were swimming upstream the whole game or trying to climb a mountain the whole game, and as they would get closer, they would be knocked back down. It just felt like they were playing from behind the whole game, which they were, but it felt like that even more than just the scoreboard.
I honestly didn't have a massive issue with a lot of the coaching and the schemes and all that stuff. I didn't have a huge issue, which is funny to say, in this game. I think the issue is when you can't get pressure with 4 at all, it's just, there's nothing you can do. When you're getting your ass kicked in the trenches, pretty much on both sides, at some point, there's not much you can do to scheme around that.
Yeah.
I mean, it just is what it is. It sucks to say. You can have more quick passes that maybe would have helped a little bit, but Patrick was trying to drive the ball down the field. You saw what they were trying to do defensively. Again, I just keep going to, it took a 4th and 17 to even make this game look respectable.
Well, this one felt like, I talked about this on Sunday Sound Off last night with B.J. Kissel and Matt Derrick and McKenzie, and this game felt like the inverse of the AFC Championship game. For so much talk about how the Chiefs got lucky because the Bills got screwed on a 4th down call, that it was obvious if I don't know how angles work that he was like a yard over the line of scrimmage. If I can just take this still shot and draw a line randomly that isn't actually the line that would be there, it makes it look like he was so far over the line it wasn't even questionable. But that game, remember, they had 2 touchdowns that were on 4th down. The Bills did.
Yes.
They had 2 other 4th down conversions to keep drives alive. The Chiefs controlled that game from kick to whistle. And they won it. They won it by 3. There were some moments here or there for the Bills, but the Bills were surviving in that game on 4th down conversions. That's what this felt like to me. The Bills controlled the game from kick to whistle, and the Chiefs were surviving on fourth down conversions or lack thereof. 4th and 3, they're down 14-10. 4th and 3, the Bills, 39-yard line. You don't pick it up. Totally fine with going for it. Loved that they went for it. Okay with the play as well. Those things happen. I have some thoughts on that particular play where I don't think Mahomes played all that particularly well in this game, which we can get into, and there's certainly nuance and other things to bring up around that. But this felt like the opposite of that AFC Championship game. The Chiefs were fighting to stay in the game. They had the ball late with a desperation heave to hopefully tie it up, where the Bills had the ball late and a desperation heave to get into field goal range to hopefully tie it up. And the Bills survived on converting fourth downs, 2 different fourth down touchdowns in that game for the Bills in the AFC Championship game. That's dismissed. A 3rd and long with 20 seconds left to go in the first half when he hits Mac Hollins for the touchdown on the Deion Dawkins false start. But those are plays where it's like they stayed in the game. They made those big plays at the big moments. Chiefs 4th and 17, huge. I mean, that was crazy. But 4th and 3 couldn't come through. 1st and 2nd and 3rd down at the goal line could not come through. Getting a stop on the Bills, a couple of 3rd and shorts or goal to go situations, not getting those stops. That's the difference in the game. And you're on the road and you're playing one of the better teams in the NFL. That happens. Okay, those things happen. The Chiefs will adjust from this. If they play the Bills again and the Bills want to rush for and play man-to-man, I am convinced Andy Reid will have play after play and scheme after scheme to attack that, and it'll be like, taking candy from a baby. Blah, blah, blah. There'll be open receivers running around. And if the Bills don't adjust and go, well, this is what worked last time, so we're going to do what worked last time. We're going to stay with that. We've seen this happen before, that the adjustments are made. My biggest beef from this is as we've talked about, just we just got to match the energy there. It's 9 games in, man. There is no margin for error anymore. And I'm not saying you got to win 8 in a row, but you need to have a pretty damn good record over these last 8 games. And if you don't sweep the Broncos, you're not winning the division.
Yeah.
So it ain't a must win a week from Sunday, but if you want to win the division, you probably can't lose.
So real quick on the Bills winning the regular season, just to your point of sometimes I do think when you win in the regular season, it can bite you because you go, okay, we stay with what worked.
Why would we change?
Why would we change? And then if you change and it doesn't work, then you have everyone sitting here going, well, why did you change? It worked the first time.
You ran 70% zone defense against the Chiefs after killing them in man. What are you doing?
So there is a little bit of a cat and mouse game, and I do think that's why the Chiefs sometimes do have the advantage even when they lose in the regular season to Buffalo.
Yeah.
Second part here is I don't want to seem like the sky is falling for KC.
Yeah.
I don't want to make it seem like the Chiefs have no chance that they play the Bills again in the playoffs, or that I think there are some really big issues, but I don't think any issues that will keep this Chiefs team from making the playoffs. But I do think there's some things that we obviously have to touch on. That being said, this Bills team we have seen time and time again, especially in the regular season, this Chiefs team doesn't have a great answer for. They're built to beat the Chiefs. They're built with how they are
in the regular season.
In the regular season, but this is how they're constructed. Not many teams can, well, one, they run the football more than any other team in the entire NFL. They do it effectively. They have the second best quarterback in the NFL, which I've been saying for years. I'm glad people are finally coming around to that conversation now. It's taken you guys long enough. I get angry.
I don't know who you're talking to there.
There's been so many people. I've been saying for years, Josh Allen's the second best quarterback, and I hear you go, it's Joe Burrow, it's this guy. Like,
I think a lot
it's
of
Josh
people,
Allen.
I think the majority is on your side
For like
there.
5 years I've been screaming this, and I'm going to keep screaming it.
I think you're yelling at the 2 people in the corner there that are screaming it, and the other.
Well, I'm yelling at those 2 people. Stay in your corner.
You're preaching to the choir, I think.
Go back to your shanties. So I do a little Shooter McGavin there.
Yeah.
But this team with great tight ends, with a great run game, a really good offensive line, the second best quarterback in the NFL. They play man coverage on defense. They can get a pass rush with 4. Yeah. How many teams have that?
Yeah.
Like
and all that
2.
And all that said, the Chiefs had the ball late.
That's my point, though. Yeah. This team is built to beat the Chiefs, and there's not another team that they're going to play. The Colts have some similarities with the run game and the tight ends and the defense and the offensive line, but it's Daniel Jones versus Josh Allen.
Yeah, Indiana Jones looked like Chester Copperpot yesterday.
Yeah.
And so that we'll see if he recovers from that, and it's the Indianapolis Colts and what they've been through the first part of the season. Let's take a timeout, come back. We'll get into some of the particulars. We'll also take your phone calls. Andre, John, holding on. We'll get to you guys on the other side of the break. 913-381-0810. More Zone coming up next. You know, we're talking NFL, but, the NBA, all your favorite NBA players are back, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL and the NBA, is the place to bet on NBA stars this season. When more markets open for more of the games, DraftKings, the number one sportsbook for live betting. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Chiefs have 13 days to figure it out before they play the Broncos on the road. They get ready for that team, sitting 5-4, third place in the division, 8th place in the AFC. It's about making the tournament. Patrick Mahomes, we'll hear from him in a little bit, where he says, yeah, we got to get there first. Asked about a rematch with the Bills. Like, well, we got to get there. We're in third place right now. Let's go to the phone lines. Andre, first up on this unfortunate loss Monday for the Kansas City Chiefs. Andre, what's on your mind, brother?
Hey, man, let me tell you this, man. Some of the best radio around is when the Kansas City Chiefs take an L, man. I mean, the media, the fans, we're so into it, man. I mean, if you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, you cover the team, you love this team, man, it's a snap-by-snap proposition, man, because you guys are all over, and I appreciate your passion about guys coming to the game without energy, man. It sounds like load management. That thing, I think they word they throw around the NBA, right? So guys that get paid $56 billion, they can't play 3 games a week. So I'm with Michael Jordan on that one, right?
I'm with you on that one. Hey, you and I agree on that one. I'm Team LeBron, but Mike never took nights off, so I'm with you on that.
Come on, man. 3 days a week, man?
Yeah.
I stayed up late one night to watch Minnesota Lakers, and I think Luka didn't play. Anthony, he's one of the guys played. But let's get back to the Chiefs, man. So going into this game, guys, we got, as a Chiefs fan, you got to be thinking we're going to need 30 points, right? Because Spags against Josh Allen, Spags against, I'm going to go with the OC, Joe Brady. And if you LSU, you should be breaking off that call to Joe Brady right now to see if he can come down and take the head coaching job. You know, but it's never been a good matchup with Spags. There's only 2 or 3 guys in the league that can hurt us defensively, and Josh Allen's at the top of that list. So we needed 30. One thing about Josh Allen, he has help in the backfield with Cook. But us, man, with our offense on yesterday, I'm really not disappointed because we have a style of play, and we asked Pat Mahomes to do so much, right? Mm-hmm. He's asked to do more than any quarterback in the league. He doesn't have a Cook beside him. He doesn't have a McCaffrey. He doesn't have a Saquon Barkley. So as he goes, our offensive game plan goes, the point score, right? That's how it is with our team. And Pat just had an off day to me, 15 to 34, I think it was, on the stats yesterday. Mm-hmm. Whatever it was with the play call or him, it seemed like to me the ball was just stuck to his hand. It just was not coming out. Now, I got one more thing I'm going to get off, guys. Whoever came up with the game plan to say that we're going to bring back Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he gets 2 carries in the game. When that was presented to you, you should have sent it back and had it revised. Okay? That's the issue. There's no reason for Clyde Edwards-Helaire in that type of game to even get 2 touches of the football. I'm not sure where that came from. When you saw that, you knew you was going down the wrong path.
Man.
Okay?
Hey.
So that's...
Andre, I appreciate it, brother. As always, man. Good stuff.
That was a hell of a call.
I love that from
That
Andre,
was
man.
an incredible call. First off, just talking about how the passion from the Chiefs lose and how it's the best.
Yes.
It is. It's
great.
It's not great. You hate seeing your team lose, but it is somewhat funny. And by the way, great call. If you know you're going to need probably 30 points to beat Josh Allen, why are you kicking the field goal at the end of the first half?
I mean, 4th and 3, he went for it, and then I think he lost his nerve on 4th and 1.
Yeah.
In fact, let's hear from Andy Reid here. This was Andy was asked about that decision. This is clip number 1. Andy asked about the decision there right before half on 4th down to kick the field goal.
Hey, you got to score. You got to score a touchdown. You know, that's you don't want to come out with a field goal. Although, listen, within it, we were still within striking distance, so it wasn't like, you know, we had opportunities. Can't start the second half the way we did. That's again my responsibility. Make sure that doesn't happen, and it did.
Is there consideration to try one more time there from the 1 on 4th down before going into the half?
I wanted points. We had to come out there with points. So, no, I thought about it for sure, but I thought getting the field goal was the right thing to do right there.
I'm glad they kicked the field goal because they only lost by 7. So that's good. Because if they didn't kick the field goal and didn't get it, they might have lost by 10. And so you don't want to lose by 10. Okay, losing by 7, you don't fall as far in the rankings in the top 25, which keeps you in the 12-team playoff.
Okay, the thought process, though, I get it. You get the ball coming out of the second half.
I don't get it at all.
No,
I'll be honest with you.
I disagree with it, but the thought, I completely disagree with it.
Yeah.
But the thought process, I think, is you score this, you get the field goal here, you're down 8 right heading in, and you get the ball to start the second half, so you have a chance to tie the game up. I get the thought process. I disagree with the thought process because that assumes that your defense is going to then just stop the Bills, which, by the way, they did a good job in the second half scoring-wise. They gave up only 7 more points. So it did somewhat come to fruition, the thought process, but you got to go for it there. You went for it on 4th and 3.
Yeah.
You go for it later in the game on 4th and 17. 4th and 1, and you decide to pucker. Like,
Yeah.
I don't get that thought process there. I don't understand the inconsistency there.
Yeah, I think he lost his nerve, and I think what he said there is you got to come away with points, and the only guarantee to come away with points is to kick the field goal, the 19-yard field goal before half. But in that moment, I'm going, and I know that part of going forward on the 1-yard line is if you don't get it, you've put that team at the 1-yard line, and so you lose that aspect of the strategy of going forward on the goal line.
Sure.
Totally understand that, but the strategy for me was you got to score that the Bills have already put up 21, so you got to get to 30. I think in that moment with 10 points, you know you got to get to, in my mind, you got to get to 30.
Yeah.
And I think Andy Reid has to know in that game, in the game script, I got to get to 30. To ask my defense to not give up 2 scoring drives in the second half, which is what it took. For the Chiefs to have a chance, the defense could only give up 1 scoring drive in the second half. It was close. The field goal hit the upright, but it wasn't a 19-yard field goal. That wouldn't have hit the upright. The field goal was as far as it was, 53 yards, 52 yards, whatever it was, it hits the upright. Knowing that I will be asking my defense to give up maximum 1 scoring drive in the second half for us to be here if I kick the field goal, I got to go for it on 4th down. Now, I would have liked for them to run it on 2nd down, even with no timeouts, because there's not a snowball's chance in hell the Bills thought you were going to hand the ball off. Just as 4th down and 1, why did Kareem Hunt walk into the end zone? Because there was no chance the Bills thought on 4th and 1 they were going to hand it to Kareem Hunt. They were going to put it in Patrick Mahomes' hands. We're playing pass.
Sure.
And the offensive line pushed him 5 yards into the end zone because there was no chance they were going to hand it off. Just as on 2nd down, there was no chance they were going to hand it off. And they were right. Sure. That they did not hand it off. I would have liked to see that. I would also like to see Jawan Taylor not get his ass kicked so often in the run game because that cost them a touchdown. Him getting beat by Jordan Phillips, that was the handoff to Kareem Hunt, shotgun or not, was a touchdown.
To me, it was shotgun. That was the big. I don't love running out of shotgun.
Run out of shotgun or I formation or run under the center. Jawan Taylor getting beat by Jordan Phillips blowing the play up doesn't matter where Kareem Hunt's lined up.
Can I
because
offer this, though?
If Kareem Hunt gets past Jordan Phillips, it's an easy walk-in touchdown.
If he is out of under center, just single back, he can run straight left behind those guys. When you're at a shotgun, he's on the right side of Patrick. Just to even get going, you're on that right side. That's the only counter I'm gonna argue. Again, it does come down to Jawan Taylor has to execute that block. There's no argument there.
Everybody did their job on that play except Jawan Taylor.
But I guess my
Jawan
point
Taylor
is
did not do the job.
They
got tackled.
It takes Jawan Taylor almost out of the play a little bit if you were under center versus shotgun. That's my rebuttal.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. Or Jordan Phillips beats him and doesn't go straight up the field to Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
He just goes to the right and tackles Kareem Hunt 2 or 3 yards deep. It's just past Jawan Taylor is Kingsley Creed and Trey Smith blocking guys a yard deep in the end zone. Like, that is a touchdown. But, and then on 2nd down, I don't think there's any question that Mahomes panicked on 2nd down. He started running from a clean pocket. He had Kelsey open. He then ran from the clean pocket and had Kelsey open again. And then because he ran from a clean pocket, he had to just throw it away. And I am convinced that because when you see the all-22 and Kelsey with his hands up on his head and Mahomes is walking back to the huddle and sees that there's not anybody within a quarter mile around Travis Kelsey, he stared down Kelsey and said, I'm throwing the ball to Travis Kelsey here.
Yeah.
On 3rd down and 1, I'm throwing it to Kelsey. Because Kareem Hunt was open. Nobody stayed with Kareem Hunt out of the backfield. Hunt leaves the backfield, goes right to the goal line, and he's wide open. But Mahomes is staring at Kelsey. So he didn't play well. To Andre's point, and one of the points that I had last night too, in just notes that we haven't got into yet, and the nuances and the overall breakdown of things that took place, Jack, and you watched it and talked about it after the game. And I don't know how much, the conversation was about specifically Patrick Mahomes, because again, I was at Sound Off. Typically, I'm listening to every part of the show. But this team is a dynasty for a lot of different reasons, but one of the main reasons is because Patrick Mahomes. And we know when you've got the weapons, it's number 15 that is the conductor. He is the one that is conducting the orchestra of all of the different players out there. And the offensive line has been great at times this year, which has allowed Mahomes to sit in a clean pocket and just conduct and just distribute the football here or there. There was last season vibes and early season vibes of the offensive line wasn't protecting to the level that you had hoped, and Mahomes found himself leaving clean pockets or dropping back and looking at the defensive line and his offensive line to see where's my escape route so then I can go and throw it. And that's not a formula that's going to work for this Chiefs team, especially against a team that's dropping 7 and rushing 4. And for second half of that game, you had 3 backup linemen in the game. So that's unfortunate too. And that's something that, not many teams can overcome. We talk about the Chargers and their struggles. They've got tons of backups in there. And now Joe Alt carted off. And so, Chargers I'm not worried about because of their offensive line issues and the injuries that are going on there. But Patrick Mahomes didn't play well. It happens. He was pressured a good amount. Some of those pressures were self-induced.
Trey Smith was credited with 4 pressures by himself.
Well, there was one that he got beat right up the middle on, which made Mahomes, that was Mahomes leaving a pocket that it was like, well, it would have been clean if Trey Smith had not gotten beat so quick. That's one I remember.
Yeah.
But I don't know that there were 3 other ones.
That's what PFF has, and again, offensive line, I think they do a better job than anything else.
Yeah. Juwan Taylor did not have a good game. He was beat by Bosa and Rousseau.
By the way, correct in that assessment, 44.4 overall grade. His run block was 39.2.
Jalen Moore was really good against the Lions. Last couple of weeks, he showed some cracks in
Do
the
you know who graded out the
foundation.
best of any Chiefs offensive lineman?
Caliendo.
Well, I didn't count him. Kingsley.
Yeah.
Creed Humphrey was high too in this one, but Kingsley. I mean,
Kingsley's been good.
I just want to keep pointing this out because we were so harsh on him, and folks
Kingsley's
were.
been good.
Kingsley has been, maybe not great, but getting close to great over the past 5 weeks.
Yeah, and Wanya in there for Juwan Taylor, and look, he's a backup, tackle. But no matter what string you are in the depth chart, on 2 yards or shorter, you can't hold.
Yeah.
You simply can't hold. You can't have a 2nd down and 2 where you get called for a holding penalty. Let him go. Let him go. If he makes the tackle, he makes the tackle. It's 3rd and 2 now. Or 4th and 2. Let him make the tackle, unless it's 4th down. Then it's like, well, if they're going to tackle him anyway or hold him, it's not really going to matter. But 1st down, 2nd down, or, short yardage situation, 1st and goal at the 2, 2nd and 2, 3rd and 2, you can't hold. In that situation. But look, it's okay to say that a lot of things didn't go right in this game, and Patrick Mahomes didn't play all that well in the game. I thought at times he was spooked, and some of those old tendencies of when he's been pressured came back in this game. And I don't blame him at times because you had 3 backup offensive linemen, and they were pressuring with only 4.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate performance that he had. Not a great completion percentage, and really the yardage total I don't even pay attention to because 3 or 4 of those were on one throw.
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood Brown had over 70 yards receiving and
2 catches.
2 catches, I believe it was.
He would have had more if he didn't try to one-hand it on the opening drive. If he used 2 hands, we always say to our kids, hey, 2 hands while you're learning. All right, in baseball. So use 2 hands while you're learning to catch the football, Hollywood. So use 2 hands when the ball hits you right in your hands instead of the one-hand attempt. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't understand in that spot why you would need just 1 hand. I feel like 2 would be a lot easier for you. But I go...
Not as cool, though.
It's not. He would have been on top 10 for sure.
Yeah.
I go back to the ending part of the first half where you had 1st and goal at the 1. And I know I'm arguing a pointless point here, basically the way to put it. I'm so sick and tired of them not being able to quarterback sneak it. When you see Buffalo twice in this game, because their quarterback is 6'5", 250, just snap the ball and fall over, which is what Brady did for years. The fact that one injury in Denver, a freak injury, has prevented the... I would even say in a Super Bowl situation, if the Chiefs were at 4th and goal at the 1-yard line, they still would not quarterback sneak it and take their chances. The 1 in a million that happens again, they would have scored on the first play, a quarterback sneak there. A, because Buffalo wouldn't have anticipated it because they haven't run it in 5 years. But the fact that even Patrick Mahomes himself has said, That's still in the playbook, which it definitely is not anymore, but he's willing to do it. It's ridiculous that in a spot where Hollywood was inches away from the goal line, you're resorting to not just running the ball. Kareem Hunt's been great in short yardage. He's been phenomenal. But the fact in that spot, Buffalo gets the gift of they're too scared to quarterback sneak it because Mahomes might dislocate his kneecap again, so they're going to go from the shotgun and hand it off to Kareem Hunt on a draw to pick up that 1 yard. Now, if he gets it, am I talking about it today? No. But the fact in all of these scenarios, I pucker up seeing 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, because you know that they're going to have to turn around and hand the ball off instead of just falling forward.
And one of my funniest from the weekend was when they were running up there, Jim Nantz or Romo going, run up and quarterback sneak it. Run up and quarterback. Like, it's been 6 years since they've done that. Like, I laughed out loud when he's like, just run up and quarterback sneak it. What team are you watching? This is the wrong team. They're not going to quarterback sneak it. Andy Reid is scared of the quarterback sneak. It was 6 years ago that it happened. And 4th and 1, overtime against the 49ers in the Super Bowl with no defensive lineman over Creed Humphrey. If they weren't going to quarterback sneak, and that's when Mahomes did the fake handoff and ran to the right and could have tossed it outside, but he picked up like 8 yards running the football. They got the first down. If they're not going to quarterback sneak it there, 4th and 1 overtime in the Super Bowl, it's never going to happen again unless Mahomes does it on his own, which he could have ran up there and just slapped Creed Humphrey on the ass and said, "Giddy up, let's go."
I thought he was going to. I'm not going to. I really thought that they were going to QB sneak that, and I don't know why. I thought that because they don't. But part of me was like, okay, the Bills game, they need this game.
Yeah.
They're going to quarterback sneak. Because when Hollywood went down, I go, I'm actually glad he's short because now you can take the time off the clock.
I would say this, too, about the fear.
I know. I'm like, I'm dumb. Take the points.
The fear. We even resorted to Blake Bell having quarterback sneaks because they did. And it's so obvious he's going in the game to quarterback sneak it. So you're telling me you are terrified to QB sneak it because, there's a huge pileup, but you're not scared on some of these option plays where he's just lowering his shoulder. There was the game against Miami when it was negative 45,000 degrees in Kansas City. A part of his helmet got chipped off because he lowered it, but we never discussed that. Oh no, that's a different thing. It's not dislocating your kneecap there.
But also that 4th down and 1 in overtime in the Super Bowl was picked up by Mahomes running the football. That's the irony of it, is that you won't run a quarterback sneak, yet you called a play in which Mahomes kept it and ran.
And he got drilled in this game on the sideline.
Yes, I mean, good God.
When he was trying to throw and he tried to keep the play alive, he got drilled on the sideline.
He's 6'3", 235 pounds. Their success rate would go way up in both scoring touchdowns and converting those 4th and shorts. And
there's no doubt we're talking about it because they didn't score.
Yeah.
And
if Kareem would have scored, this is a moot point today.
But I do think if they sprint up with the smaller defense on the field for the Bills, because they're playing more of, the nickel and dime, if you run up and just quarterback sneak it quickly, the Bills can't call timeout at that point, and you go in and score, and you go into halftime, and who knows what happens after that. We'll take a timeout, come back. More Zone next. Look, the Chiefs lost a game. The sky is not falling. But if it were, is your roof going to protect you? That's the question that I have for you, and the question that Pyramid Roofing would also have for you. Is your roof weatherproofed at this time? Do you have the peace of mind of knowing that you are ready for the winter months, for the storms to be here, the snow, the ice, the wind, the melting and freezing and melting and freezing? If your roof is over 15 years old, then there could easily be issues up there. Broken tiles, sagging roof, missing or damaged shingles, leaks that maybe you are not aware of until it may become too late. Maybe you've got gutter issues, mold and mildew, something you'll be thinking about when it comes to the wintertime. Ice dams that can form when it gets really, really cold outside and that humidity and all of that stuff happens. Check out pyramidroofingkc.com. Get ahead of the weather. It's free roof inspections. Peace of mind is free. It's commercial and residential, locally owned and operated. Great to work with. We got our gutters done with Pyramid Roofing, and they came out and fixed a part of our roof where we had a leak after one of the big storms that produced those high mile-an-hour winds. 2 full games behind the Broncos. The Broncos and their cardiac kids, their fourth quarter comebacks. News out of the NFL is unfortunate. Tucker Kraft did tear his ACL. Marshawn Lattimore did tear his ACL last night. Hoyt did tear his Achilles for the Bills yesterday afternoon.
And just stayed on the sideline.
That was pretty badass. You know, I'm not going to lie. The guy's like, no, I don't want to go back to the, I don't need to go back to the locker room. I'll stay right here. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Coming up at a half hour from now, we will talk with Field Yates, 913-381-810. Let's bring in John to the conversation here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. John, go right ahead. What's on your mind, sir?
Gentlemen, how are you, sir?
We are doing just fine. Hope you're doing well today, brother.
Hey, man, thanks. Listen, honest to God, it's perfect timing. I've been wanting to talk since yesterday about the end of the first half, and it sounds like I'm nitpicking and I am second guessing, but I'm really not, because my wife will vouch for me screaming at the TV. We have first down on the 1 yard line with approximately 20 seconds to go. My point is, I know I'm second guessing, but just follow my thought pattern. If you play action off of first down, you got Mahomes running out, you fake, you run out. If nobody's open, hopefully maybe you run it in. The point is, we only had one timeout left. The problem with running the ball up the middle with 20 seconds to go in the half is if you get stopped, you're forced to use your timeout. Now, what's happened? Now you have second down with no timeouts. And I'm screaming to my wife, they have to throw. Because if they run and get stopped, the clock will run out. Well, they don't get it. Then third down, same thing. So I just thought, I know it's second guessing, I just thought that was major screwed up the way the clock and the timeouts were handled at the end of the first, which is another wrinkle. Fast forward to the end of the game. Well, if we would have gotten 7 points there instead of 3, we add on 4. Now, the end of the game, instead of being down by 7, we're only down by 3. Well, instead of needing a touchdown to tie, all we need is a field goal to tie. Well, guess what? At the end of the game, we have no timeouts left. I'm like, who is handling the timeouts and the clock? Valid point. I'll hang up, see what you guys say.
John, I appreciate it, man. 913-381-810.
It's a great call.
No timeouts at the end there is because, they picked up that extra first down when the defense was out there, couldn't get the stop, so then you had to start using your timeouts. But I will say it's not I don't think it's second guessing on the first down call when you've got the timeout, first and goal of, all right, is that the time to run it, pass it, whatever, because my brother was texting in and was like, I would have liked to see them throw on first down because they probably thought they've got a timeout, so they're expecting run, so play action, throw it, and then on second down, you still have your timeout. Now they don't know, are you going to throw or run?
Sure.
So they got to play for both, but they played for the run on first down and the pass on second down, and that's exactly what the Chiefs did, was run on first down, pass on second and third. Like, they played it the way that they expected Andy Reid to play it.
It was predictable.
100%. And I don't think it's second guessing by John, because I think there were, my brother was in the same boat. He's like, I wish they would have, when they called the timeout, he's like, I wish they would have passed there because they were expecting a run. Now, second down, you still have your timeout. If Mahomes either scores or just throws it away, right? You're not going to get tackled inbounds. If he's got a run, he'll just throw it away or whatever. Now you've got sort of the same situation where the Bills don't know what you're going to do. Once you were out of timeouts, the Bills were like, they're going to put it in Mahomes' hands. This is going to absolutely be a pass on second and third down. And by the way, Travis Kelce was open on second down, wide open on second down. But,
Was that the one he threw to Rice, and Rice was covered?
No, that's the one that he threw out of bounds. He just chucked it on second down.
There was one earlier where he went to Rice, and Kelce was wide open right behind him. I'm trying to figure out when that was.
On 4th and 3?
Yeah, 4th and 3.
Yeah, that was a very Bo Prabula play from Patrick Mahomes. That was a frustrating one because he grabbed the ball and just fired it as fast as he could to Rashee Rice. And shout out Christian Bishop.
Cole Bishop.
Shout out Cole Bishop.
Great
too.
game.
His brother Christian, also pretty good player. I would guess. I don't know. Probably good family. Cole actually says Christian's a better athlete than he is. No idea. Made all that up. Shout out Cole Bishop because he said after the game they ran that play against the Chargers. And it was film study knowing that inside guy gets to the sticks and turns around, and that's why he saw Rice start turning and he took off there. Mahomes also threw it to Bishop's side instead of sort of throwing it away from the defender where Rashee Rice would then go to his right to catch it. He had to reach back to his left. But it was also, this is what they do. So Bishop saw it coming. Mahomes had no pressure. If he waits a half second, Kelsey is coming wide open over the top. Also, nobody guarded Xavier Worthy at the top. Nobody was on Xavier Worthy. The defender was lined up 5 yards away from Worthy, and at snap, immediately sprinted backwards. And Worthy's standing there like doing jumping jacks, like he's Speedy Johnson almost. And it was like, that's incomplete, and Worthy's just standing there like, hey, man, there's nobody here. That's a catch, 15 yards, whatever. But it had been predetermined, and I'm okay if he predetermines it if it's there. Even if he predetermines it, you've got to put it on the other shoulder of Rashee Rice. You got to put it towards the space and not towards the defender that's running there. He missed it. He caught it, threw it as fast as he can, probably didn't even have the laces, fired the fastball. Rice couldn't come up with it. Credit Bishop for film study, making the play. But that was one of those other ones to where, you had guys open and just sort of panicked. Second down and goal from the 1 yard line. Mahomes had a clean pocket, and Kelsey was wide open, and Mahomes was only looking left, and then he just ran to his right. And as he ran to his right, then Kelsey goes to his right, which is opposite of where Mahomes is going, so Kelsey can find the space. But at that point, Mahomes is like, I got to throw it away. I can't waste any more time. I got to throw it away. Like, those are things that in a game, I trust Mahomes is going to make those plays.
Yeah.
I trust that he's going to make. He didn't in the game, and that happens. But every other time in the postseason against the Bills, he makes those plays in the postseason. And so if they play the Bills in the postseason, I think he makes those plays.
Real quick, again, shout out to Cole Bishop. I thought he had a great game,
He had a
by the way.
phenomenal game.
And shout out to Maxwell Hairston,
Yeah.
their cornerback.
Caught the arm punt. Good for him.
He was, but he was step for step with Xavier Worthy
I know.
multiple
Yeah.
times. And I want to do one quick tidbit on Xavier Worthy, because I mentioned this earlier in the season.
Yeah,
he does not come back for the ball. He just feels like at times if the ball's not going to get there to him, he just stops. If it's not right in his hands, he's not going to ball track. It's just not part of his game. If he throws and tries at all to come back for that ball, that is pass interference.
Pass interference.
But he
Which
doesn't.
one, the Maxwell Harrison
The
one?
Maxwell Harrison
Okay,
one.
so I was thinking the one down the sideline.
There's two. There's two that happened.
The one down the sideline, he's being
Yeah,
guarded.
not that one. It's the I think that was also Maxwell Harrison.
Yeah,
I think he was
and
on both of those.
It was incomplete, and I've never seen a player get pass interfered while not fighting to show that he's being pass interfered and just sort of like fade with the defender. To your point, if he fights and tries to get to that ball, Maxwell's going to be tackling him.
Yes,
and it's going to be an easy pass interference. Instead, he just sort of runs along with him and then reaches his left arm out and keeps running. Like, dude, how about this? I'm not going to get there. Let me be sneaky and put my left arm on the guy and fall backwards, and he's going to fall on top of me. And you know who can't see my left arm wrapped around him? The referee behind us, and that's going to be an easy pass interference. Be crafty. Be
Yes.
sneaky from time to like he was already being pass interfered. Just play it up a little
It's
bit.
a dumb rule where if it's underthrown and you stop and try to come back, it's pass interference. So do it.
Yeah.
It's not getting to you.
Yeah.
Do it. Stop and try and come back. Again, it's minor thing. He's a young guy, and we'll see.
But no, that jump ball to Maxwell Hairston, you're right, because as Hairston's going backwards, Worthy has an opportunity to cut in front and jump with him.
Yes.
Instead, he runs behind Hairston.
Yes.
Like almost like, no, I'm just going to be here in case he drops it or it's a tip. He didn't go up. That is one thing that Worthy has to be better about, because against the Commanders on Monday night, there was that dart that Mahomes threw over the middle that was right to Worthy, and I can't remember the defender that came up and knocked
It was
it
the
away.
Jacksonville game, too. He did that.
And Worthy was fading to the defender instead of coming and getting the ball. Where Rice comes up, strong hands, strong arms, boom, catches the ball, goes and gets it. Worthy
Tyquan does, too, by the way.
Yeah, Worthy has to get better at that. I mean, if you're going to be a guy that they throw the ball deep to, then you're going to have to be stronger and tracking the football, and not just I can track the football when I'm open. I got to track the football when I'm being guarded so that they can see that this guy is blocking my path to go and get the football. So, I mean, I don't think it was pass interference on the Maxwell Hairston one, the second one, the interception.
No.
That was just Worthy, for whatever reason, running to where the ball was going to land while also seeing this guy is in his way and, like, almost ran to dodge him.
Yeah.
While, like, it's an odd route by Worthy. That has to improve. There's no doubt about that. But I didn't hate that throw because, it was an arm punt. Like, you gave the guy a chance. You had a guy in your face the fact that he got it off and threw it that far with the guy about to hit him. There were a couple throws in this one, Jack, to where I think Mahomes was like an inch or two away from having his arm just, hit while he's throwing, which is scary, and somehow he got those throws off. Two of them were the ones to Xavier Worthy. The one down the sideline that looked like it could have been pass interference was one with a guy in his face and he threw it, and then the arm punt to Maxwell Hairston.
Yeah, there's been a few games of the last couple of years we all can remember them, right, when the offensive line's been ravaged or they're not playing their best game. And it's a direct correlation, too, to him not having some of those reads, not seeing Worthy wide open when nobody's on him, not seeing Kelsey in the end zone because he's so hyper-conscious about, well, I'm not going to have any time to throw. I don't have trust in this guy being able to block for me. I feel that they're going to bring the heat here, and I'm going to have less than 2 seconds to get the ball out of my hands. And so this is what's been so frustrating in those moments where, gosh, in the past, right, when it was the Tyreek's down there somewhere, like that play where there was a guy right in his face, there were two guys, I believe it was, you throw it up there, he's just somehow open, where with Worthy, I guess we just haven't seen one of those moments, and they knew in that spot, we're bringing the heat. Mm-hmm. It's, 3rd and 11 at that point because Brashard had a loss of one, and then it was the screen pass that hit his helmet or Trey Smith's helmet. Yeah. That's another part where I go, I cannot believe it, the game on the line. I'm all for getting Brashard Smith involved. The fact back-to-back plays were designed for your third-string running back.
I can't believe Trey Smith ran to right where Brashard Smith was.
There was a lot of room, too.
I think that play works. And Trey Smith knew it, too. As the ball hit his helmet, he just sort of jogged down the field as if like, I cannot believe that just happened. Like, why are you running to the running back, man? You ran right in front of the running back. Where are you going? But anyway, sorry.
It's kind of just this whole game. Like those plays define this football game.
Yes.
And I don't want to completely come down on the offensive line of the offense because they were great in the 3 games before. That's why I feel differently of it wasn't a great game. You credit Buffalo. They made you play poorly. But in those moments, man, it's just you could tell on that 3rd and 11, they're going to get somebody back there within a second and a half, 2 seconds of this snap, where against Philadelphia in the Super Bowl it was that way. Multiple games last year, especially once they started 9-0 and then had some of those close games, it was nobody's going to have time to get open. Even if you do have Rashee Rice on this team, where he's the best at getting open inside of 10 yards, it's not where you're looking to because they're going to send 2 or 3 guys with Worthy knowing he's going to go vertical, and then Rice may stay underneath, but we've got guys there to bottle him up before he picks up that first down. And if you don't have any protection, if you don't have somebody chipping, if you have Jawan Taylor getting his ass kicked, Wanya Morris in the game, Mike Caliendo in the game, Buffalo did the right thing there of just keep sending the house here because Mahomes, he's clearly not in sync with who he's throwing to, and now let's just put more heat on. Let's take the chance that, they might have somebody deep there, but we're going to make sure that he's got less than a second or two to make that decision.
913-3810810, bringing in Robert to the conversation. Robert, go right ahead. What's on your mind, sir?
Yes, sir. Very quickly.
Good.
Question, who is Patrick Mahomes making his own plays or are all his plays coming from the sideline? Because it seems to me that the play calling is the issue with the Chiefs. Like when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl and they did that little thing where the guy ran left and then ran right, went to the end zone, and the Super Bowl was over with and they won. It seems like the play calling. So you guys can answer that question for me. It's like, does Patrick Mahomes call his own plays, or are they all coming from the sideline?
No, it's coming from Andy Reid. He's the one. He's calling the plays. Matt Nagy then relays the play call, but yeah, it's Andy Reid's offense.
I will say a lot of times, not always, but you'll see him check at the line of scrimmage. So you might get 2 play calls, right, and then you'll check into the second one. And whether that means, he checks out of a run, I don't think he's checking into a run very often. So there could be some of that to where, hey, he sees something in the line of scrimmage and he thinks that there's a better chance of him passing versus run, so we'll check into the pass play. There is something to that, but that's not something we'll ever get maybe 100% confirmation on. But that is an aspect of this.
913-3810810. Thank you, Robert. Amos up next on Sports Radio 810 WHB. What's on your mind, brother?
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, man?
I didn't like the game either. There was a bunch of points in there that they screwed up on. Opening drive for one, right before half, before one, coming out in the third quarter, completely flat. I'm not going to pick on them too much. We had some offensive linemen down. But one of my other questions is can we trade for a running back? I know everybody says no, it's not possible. I'm just trying to be serious for 1 second. And then another question, if they don't buckle their chin strap and get ready for Denver, I think that might be a really pivotal game where the season might go south. and I'll listen offline. And make sure they wear all white, because the white and red is not working anymore. Love you guys.
I appreciate you, Amy. 913-3-810-810.
I do think, by the way, it's a good point. If the Chiefs lose to the Broncos, you are in such
It's 5
a
and 5.
hole.
Yeah, you're 5-5 at that point. And if the Jags are 6-3 at that point, if the Jags win and you lose,
Let me see what they have.
and or if they're 7-3, if they win, the next 2 weeks,
Jags have Texans, Chargers, at Cardinals.
So Texans and Chargers is really the next two games for them.
At Texans, Chargers.
Right.
Yeah.
So if the Chiefs lose and the Jags win the next 2 weeks, they would be 2 games and a tiebreaker out of the playoffs. I mean, that's where we're getting to now with this team being 5-4 at this point. Trade for a running back? Yeah, they can. Just depends on what the cost acquisition is. I mean, Breece Hall is being talked about whether or not they're going to trade him. The Jets have said they want a day 2 pick for an expiring contract and a running back. I can't imagine you getting a day 2 pick. The Eagles gave up a day 2 pick for Jalen Phillips. The Dolphins ate a decent portion of that contract.
By the way, would you have done that? I think that let's start there. Would you have made that move?
The Eagles have the luxury of having 2 third-rounders.
Sure.
And the Chiefs don't.
Well, I know, but I'm saying with how the Chiefs currently sit with what they have, would you have made that move for Jalen Phillips?
You have to believe that Jalen Phillips is also going to get extended. So if the Chiefs looked at it and said, this is a guy that we want to put on our edge opposite Karlaftis and pay for the next 3 or 4 years, and it's going to cost a third-rounder to get him, then yeah, I don't know that Jalen Phillips is that guy to trade for and then extend for 3 or 4 years. He's been good this year, but he hasn't been the player that he was before the ACL and the Achilles. The Eagles are betting on him becoming that guy again. And that's a risk that the Chiefs, with the lack of draft picks over the last couple of years and needing more and more picks and needing to replenish some key spots, you got to be right about that. You have to be right about Jalen Phillips turning back into that guy. If they're going to trade for somebody that's, day 3 and maybe not have to pay as much, then, we'll see what the Dolphins do with Bradley Chubb. But could they trade for a running back? Yes. They can absolutely trade for a running back. Which running back? We'll see. I don't think Rico Dowdle's going anywhere now that the Panthers have a winning record and won there in Green Bay. That would have been nice.
They're 5-4.
Yeah, same record as the Chiefs.
Panthers are 5-4.
Yeah, Breece Hall's been talked about. I think the Dolphins are on a fire sale since they picked up the contract or a portion of Jalen Phillips' contract to alleviate the cap hit on the Eagles this year. I think the Dolphins are more fire sale. They fired Chris Greer, and the interim GM traded Jalen Phillips. Like a day later, it's like, our GM's fired. This guy's like, all right, let me get to work. Let me start pulling off some deals. Last one, Bruno, wrapping us up here before we talk with Field Yates about the Chiefs. Bruno, go right ahead. What's on your mind, sir?
Yes, sir. Thanks for taking my call.
Yep.
I'm going to have to sweat out the next day, make sure they don't come away Thornton. Finally got an opposite side threats and Worthy. Problem I have with Worthy is what you said earlier. He doesn't understand quite yet the experience about how to come back to the ball, how to use the defenders to get those calls. But I think the Chiefs have forgotten how they won those games when Rice was in there. It was Thornton. All of a sudden, Thornton just disappears. I don't know if it's in the game plan. Someone said something about Atlanta might be wanting to make a trade and get him a 6 pick. Are you kidding me? Please don't do that. At some point, the Chiefs got to wake up and realize that Thornton is the key to making a lot of things work. I can tell you one thing, he knows how to track the ball. He's 6 foot. They used him at the very end with a Hail Mary pass when everybody's all around him. And I'm thinking, is that the only catch he's going to attempt he's going to hit? It just doesn't make a lot of sense at all. And I know you probably have a different perspective on it, but it's got to be concerning. I hope they don't trade him. Maybe you guys, when you have a press conference with Andy, and find out where is Thornton. Why won't you go to him? He catches everything you throw at him. Please don't give him away. That's all I had to say, and just concerned about that.
Yeah. Bruno, I appreciate the phone call, man. Sorry about that, dude. No, I appreciate the phone call. I hope the Chiefs don't trade Tyquan Thornton because he's a really good piece in this wide receiver room. Depth, certainly, but what they used him for was what they're using Xavier Worthy to do in certain plays now. I just need Worthy to come back and track the ball the way that Tyquan Thornton does when the ball's in the air, if they're going to use Worthy on those plays. And if Worthy's not going to do that, then Tyquan needs to be in on those routes.
Agreed.
We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Field Yates coming up next.
I'm excited. You're excited. Everyone is excited. Missouri, get ready. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming soon. And starting December 1st, new customers in Missouri can get up to
more often than he's in bed. He'll break down the NFL without a single hair ever out of place. It's Field Yates of ESPN. Now in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. We head up until 2 o'clock. Mick Schaefer will join us in the 1 o'clock hour. Right now talking with Field Yates from ESPN NFL Insider. Field Yates. Field, welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
Jason, I am doing well. How about you, my friend?
I am doing just fine. Chiefs lose yesterday to the Buffalo Bills on the road. What was your takeaway from this particular game and what you saw in that matchup?
I would say these two teams generally bring out a really strong side of each other. I wouldn't say the best version of the Chiefs showed up yesterday, as Patrick Mahomes completed under 50% of his passes in the first time in forever. That being said, I do think the Chiefs tend to bring out the best of the Bills in the regular season. I think, if I have it correct, the Bills have won like 5 of the last 6 regular season meetings. Of course, the more consequential matchups have gone to Kansas City. Those have been played in January, of course, in playoff battles. So I know that it's probably stings this morning for Chiefs fans, but that to me felt like 2 of the very best in the NFL going toe-to-toe with the Chiefs having a chance on the road in the final moments to potentially tie the game up. So to me, I know it's a loss, and we don't care whether teams lose by 7 points or 70 points. It all counts the same. But my bottom line on the Chiefs hasn't really changed much based off what I saw yesterday.
Yeah, and I'm not disagreeing with that at all. One of the things that I was talking about going into this game that, we were talking about which team it means more for, the Bills or the Chiefs in this matchup. And my takeaway was that I thought it meant more for the Bills because for me, if we're trying to, talking about winning a Super Bowl, the best way it seems for the Bills to win a Super Bowl is to not face the Chiefs. And
yes.
the guarantee to not face the Chiefs in the playoffs is that if the Chiefs don't make the playoffs, so winning the game puts them a step closer. The different feel for this one as opposed to Bills' regular season games of the past field is that the Chiefs are sitting 2 full games behind the Broncos still,
yes,
and they're out of the playoffs currently right now, where every other year, Field, it was like these 2 teams matched up, leading their division, and it was all about who's the tiebreaker for the 1 seed. And we come away from this game, neither team leading their division, and the Chiefs right now sitting in 8th place in the AFC. That's where the feel of like, okay, they lost regular season, you'll see them in the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes said last night, well, you got to get there first.
Yeah. That's fair. It's all totally fair. And I had somebody reach out to me this morning and said, have you looked at the Jaguars schedule yet compared to the Chiefs schedule rest of season? Mm-hmm. Now, thinking to myself, I haven't, first of all. But second of all, are we really yet to that point? I don't know if my panic meter has risen to that level for the Chiefs. I think water's going to find its level for this team. And I do believe this. Mm-hmm. I think if you look at the AFC right now, there are 3 wild card spots up for grabs. I do believe that one of the Bills or Patriots will have a wild card spot. I believe based off of how they have looked and what their schedule looks like going forward, each of those teams will be in the playoffs. Obviously, one AFC North team will be in. I believe it'll be just one AFC North team at maximum. I think that really it comes down to the Chiefs, the Jaguars, the Broncos, and the Chargers for 3 spots available. Obviously, one of those would be the AFC West Division champion. Because the Chiefs still have 2 opportunities, including their next game against the Broncos, I guess I haven't let the panic meter rise to the same level that some people are probably at, maybe after Week 11 when they play in Denver, a game in which, although the Chiefs are coming off of a bye, the Broncos will be coming off of a mini-bye as well. So 2 well-rested teams. If they fall to 5-5 and then play host to the Colts the following week, I think that conversation has a bit more merit. Maybe it's safe to say this. The next 2 games will determine whether or not this is a season that we might look back as one that got away. But I haven't let that thought creep into my mind that much as of yet.
Yeah, I'm with you. What's the takeaway for the Buffalo Bills in this one? They take care of business. They sit at 6-2. They do what they've done the last 5 years, which is win the regular season game. And I think even for them, it's like, okay, we won this game, but we know what the ultimate goal is. What's the takeaway there for Buffalo in this one, winning the game?
Yeah, I would say the takeaway is that their defense did something it hasn't done much of this year, which is sort of show its mettle against a team that we think is a real contender. We've seen them play better defensively. They were awesome the week prior when they played the Panthers. But that's sort of like the Panthers versus the Chiefs, with all due respect to Carolina, it's just a far different test, right? And they got some contributions from guys that either so far this season haven't been very good, or just guys that they haven't been relying upon as much, like Max Hairston, their first-round pick, who has been hurt or was hurt to begin the year. And Cole Bishop, one of their safeties, played pretty well, and Joey Bosa made an impact as a pass rusher. So Buffalo probably feels a little bit more content with their defense today than where they were yesterday. And then Josh Allen outplayed Patrick Mahomes, which, that's really, it happens, right? Even if you're the best player alive, you do have games in which the opposing quarterback can get the better of you, even if they don't play head-to-head. But that's no sort of major shock when Josh Allen's the reigning MVP, right? This is not like, Bryce Young outplayed Patrick Mahomes in a game. So I thought the game was close. It's a 7-point game, and the Chiefs have the ball with, even though it was not a ton of time, some time left with, their own, 43, 42-yard line. So a close game, two teams that if I played a best-of-7 series, the Chiefs are probably, minus 110 favorites or something like that. Not some overwhelming favorite one way or the other. The Buffalo held serve in a game that, doesn't decide anything as of right now. But the Chiefs' number 1 seed equity, unquestionable, and maybe even number 2 seed equity, unquestionably went down yesterday compared to if they had won that game.
Visiting with Field Yates from ESPN. Running backs are being talked about around the league and trade candidates, and it's been something that has been discussed in Kansas City. I've leaned more towards the defensive line, but the Chiefs signed Elijah Mitchell before the season started, and Isaiah Pacheco misses a game, and they still make Elijah Mitchell inactive, and they bring up Clyde Edwards-Helaire, which is odd. They paid him more money than Rico Dowdle. I am not going to play revisionist history and say I wanted them to go get Rico Dowdle. I didn't know which running back they're going to go and get. Javonte Williams has been pretty good. Chubb, Dowdle has been amazing. I just, this is interesting because he's been a guy that has been overlooked like every spot that he's went in college, second running back, right? I mean, his last year, UDFA, backup. And he wasn't even going to play as much if it wasn't for Chuba Hubbard injuring his calf. And now he's getting this opportunity to go out there and play. Is there a chance the Panthers look to move Chuba Hubbard and say Rico is our guy moving forward?
I don't think so. That one comes down to just how much he means to the franchise, right? You could make the case that in a cold, hard business sense, they might be better suited offloading the contract of Chuba Hubbard and reallocating that money either to Rico Dowdle or just using it elsewhere on the roster. That being said, I think he probably stands pat. The Elijah Mitchell inactive yesterday was a total surprise to me. I feel like if you had given me a running back prediction involving the Chiefs in the trade deadline, it was the team acquiring a running back. I'm starting to wonder if for these various teams around the NFL that are looking for more running back depth, if they're going to call Kansas City and say, we'll take him for a conditional 7th or something. The guy can't even get on the field.
Yeah.
Here's a little trivia for you. Kareem Hunt played 81% of the snaps yesterday. 81! Who was the last Chiefs running back to play at least 81% of the snaps in a single game?
McKinnon?
It's rare for me to ever have a note that stumps you, but actually LaMichael Pirine in Week 18 of 2023, which is almost unfair. Is of course Pirine was that was we call that the Mahomes Kelsey bye invitational, right? Those guys are watching from the sidelines. Mahomes is wearing slides as opposed to cleats, and Kelsey has an AirPod in listening to a podcast. I'm kidding, of course, but those guys. This was the backup playing in that game 2 seasons ago. I believe it was against Denver, but I could be wrong there. But yes, so Kareem Hunt was busy, and it sounds like Isaiah Pacheco is going to be back after the bye this upcoming week here. But if the Chiefs poke around, I can't blame them. I mean, I just do not imagine that Kareem Hunt playing 81% of the snaps would take place in a game in 2025. And Brashard Smith, I feel like every time I open up the internet and say the Chiefs are expecting more out of him or maybe a little more here or there, and this is not a Brashard Smith talent thing or even like a knock on them. They have earned every right to do things how they desire to do them on offense, and I'm not going to question it. It's just he's not there yet. Like that's just a matter of fact, right? He's just not playing that much, despite what seems to be like some social media momentum that he will be playing more and more and more.
Field Yates is our guest. What are you hearing from around the league in trades, and if the Chiefs are interested? Do you think they're looking defensive line, which it seems like there are so many teams looking defensive line, interior or edge rusher? The Eagles make the trade for a third-rounder to get Jalen Phillips. Maybe the Dolphins are in a fire sale, and if they are, I don't know if Achane is available, or maybe Jalen Wright they throw a dart at, as somebody that they liked in the draft. But are you hearing at all the Chiefs connected to anybody or any particular position that they may be shopping for?
No, defensive line continues to be the one everybody has their eyes on, with some more depth there. But there's a chance the biggest trade that we are going to see in, let's call it the 3 to 5 days leading up to the deadline, is the one that we saw this morning. Jalen Phillips going from Miami to Philadelphia, the cost, of course, being a third-round pick, probably close to pick 100 or so, going to Miami, who is looking to kind of pivot into this new phase of roster building. They need to rebuild. That's kind of code for they need to rebuild. So I think the Chiefs will sniff around the defensive line market still, but I do feel like this trade deadline from now until 4 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, 3 p.m. Arrowhead time, so what's that? That's about 27 hours
Roughly,
left over.
yeah.
Might be a little more of stuff shopping around the margins as opposed to a big consequential trade. I think Achane is a player that Miami feels like is a big part of their future. But Jalen Wright has some of that Elijah Mitchell in him. It's like, why is this guy not playing at all, right? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense after Miami actually, a couple years ago, they did the trade a pick a year in the future that's a round earlier than the pick they're acquiring. I think it was their 2025 third for a 2024 fourth to get Jalen Wright, and here we are, a couple seasons later, and he can't even get on the field. Yeah.
Visiting with Field Yates from ESPN. He is our NFL insider right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I do wonder, Jalen Phillips traded. Bradley Chubb has been talked about, and he's got his base salary is $1.3 million, so that would be doable for teams trading for. The Dolphins would take on the dead cap hit on a lot of that stuff, except for per game roster bonuses and things like that, which I do think Bradley Chubb has a decent amount. The Chiefs would have to take on that. If they trade Jalen Phillips, they've got Chubb under contract for the next couple of years, but if they're looking to restructure and take some of that money, does it stand to reason that Bradley Chubb would be the next one out the door for the Dolphins? And if so, I mean, what do you think it would require to get Bradley Chubb, and if the Chiefs would be in that market?
Yeah, I think that the Dolphins would pay down any way they can the Bradley Chubb contract, right? Because they still had, I think you mentioned the roster, per game roster bonuses he has still done. Like, you can even pay those down as a team. You can just basically eat them for the acquiring team, so they are off the hook. You kind of convert them into a salary, a signing bonus, and it sort of gives the player what he was potentially due, but it also prevents the acquiring team from having to pay those bonuses, and the upside for Miami in this case would be the strength of the pick would likely be larger. Yeah, I think you're talking about probably a third-round pick or a fourth-round pick, maybe like a fourth and a sixth or something as well, because the difference between Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb, Phillips is a younger player, probably a better player at this stage of his career, but he's going to be a free agent after this season. Chubb, even if those numbers are big after this season, you do technically still have some team control. So it would not surprise me if the price tag is comparable based off what Philadelphia did in sending that third-round pick to Miami earlier today.
Visiting with Field Yates from ESPN, looking at the teams in the AFC West that are ahead of the Chiefs right now, the Chargers continue to have trouble with injuries. Is Joe Alt, is he going to try to tough this one out? And I hate to say tough this one out because then it makes it seem like if he doesn't, then it's a pain tolerance thing. Or is it one of those to where you re-injured the same thing, it's time to maybe have surgery and just get this thing fixed?
Yeah, I don't know enough about it yet and whether this could when we go down that surgical path, but we saw the impact that he had when he was off the field. This Chargers team still feels to me, and Broncos fans might say we are the team in first place, so why are you saying that? The Chargers team still feels to me like the scarier one when they play their best version of their game. That might just be a little bit of a I trust Justin Herbert more than I trust Bo Nix statement. That being said, this Alt injury looms very, very large. Obviously, it's not just him. It's Rashawn Slater before the season. Mekhi Becton's been in and out of the lineup. Center's been a problem for them all season. There's a lot of injuries they have been managing, as you alluded to. Martin Hampton, their first-round pick, has been out for 4 weeks now. So They're the walking wounded, but
Yeah.
they're still 6-3, and I think they do have. I really don't know what to call a game against the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. I think it's winnable, but the Steelers surprised me yesterday and kind of handling business against the Colts, which, if there was a silver lining of yesterday for the Chiefs, it was the fact that the Colts did lose. I know that maybe people were saying, let's stop talking about the number one seed when we're 5-4. But that being said, there's a world in which the Chiefs come out of week 12 and they're, sniffing right behind Indianapolis, a team that, until yesterday we were talking about as the potential, kings of the AFC.
Yeah, visiting with Field Yates from ESPN. Last one for you. The Broncos finding ways to win. They're late, making comebacks. Can this continue for them, or it's like the other shoe's going to drop eventually, or is it, we asked all last year, Field, can the Chiefs keep finding ways to win these late games crazy the way that they have? And I feel like we're asking the same thing about the Broncos, and conventional wisdom would say no, but that same conventional wisdom would have said the Chiefs wouldn't have ended up 15-2 last year either.
Yeah, I hear you. I think a little different though is I trust Patrick Mahomes much more than I trust Bo, and I feel bad. I feel like I'm just taking shots at Bo left and right here, but I don't know how they keep winning some of these games. The point differential, I was thinking to myself, I wonder what their point differential is. And they had a couple of blowout wins, like they beat the Cowboys by 20 and the Bengals by 25 earlier this season. So the point differential actually stacks up okay relative to the rest of the NFL, but listen, there's no two ways about it. I am reserving final judgment about this Broncos team until I can really see them. Now, they beat the Eagles in Philadelphia, but I want to see this team hold its own against the Chiefs in two separate occasions. Obviously, the first one coming around the corner in now, 13 days from this conversation.
Field Yates from ESPN is our guest. Field, appreciate the time. We'll see what happens over the next 27 and change hours before the trade deadline if the Chiefs make any moves to try to bolster either that defensive line or another playmaker offensively. We'll find out. Field, you're the man. Appreciate it as always, brother. Enjoy the football. We'll talk next week.
Sounds great, Yates. Talk to you soon.
Absolutely. There's Field Yates from ESPN joining us as we break down the Kansas City Chiefs. They lose to the Bills yesterday. They sit 5-4. They are a game out of the playoffs right now and a tiebreaker with the Jags. The Jags schedule, moving forward, they've got, a number of teams on their schedule that, are going to be tough. I mean, they beat the Raiders in overtime coming off a bye after losing back-to-back games to the Seahawks and the Rams. And the Rams, they just got dominated in that game. And now they head to Houston, where Houston had, an opportunity there to beat the Denver Broncos. But Houston, the latest team that is the victim of the Broncos' crazy fourth-quarter comebacks. Then the Jags play the Chargers. They head to Arizona. They head to Tennessee. They still have the Colts twice. They head to Denver before the season is over as well. So they've got road trips to Houston, Denver, and Indianapolis through the Jags. And they've got the Chargers and Colts mixed in there as well at home. So we'll find out what the Jags end up doing. Chiefs just need to take care of business on their own. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. More Zone next. All right, man, if you're out there and you happen to be suffering from erectile dysfunction, you know that it is a condition that can cause depression, arguments, breakups, even contribute to divorce, but it's also something that is caused by multiple things. It is a condition that can come about from multiple different reasons. It is not one of those, hey, the pills are going to fix it, the herbals are going to fix it. Maybe they have, but maybe those things have failed. And if that's the case, Heartland Men's Health is here for you. They let men know that sometimes the most difficult thing is just simply walking through the door. There's no need to wait. Some men wait months, even years, to figure out what is going on. They've got peptides that they're working with, trying to stay on the cutting edge of all of the nutrition when it comes to men, and certainly ED is part of that. They have treatments with success rates well over 90%. They have been successfully treating men in the Kansas City area. So it's easy. Schedule a consult with Heartland Men's Health today. Your initial visit, it's only $99. That includes that medical consult with a licensed medical provider. You get the T and that PSA test, and if medically advised, you get a test dose. And if the test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. You don't pay a dime. If it does, you are on your way to figuring out what's going on. An expert staff with 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Independence, between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and, of course, North Kansas City. Call them today at 844-447-6600. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, 844 888-447-6600 or visit heartlandmenshealth.com. Thank you to Field Yates. We are just over 27 hours away from the trade deadline. Jalen Phillips moving to the Philadelphia Eagles for a third-round pick. The Eagles picking up a good portion, the Dolphins picking up a good portion of that salary that is owed to him. Bradley Chubb is being rumored for a number of different places that he could end up. San Francisco being talked about, the Dallas Cowboys being talked about. Haven't heard the Chiefs' name connected to Bradley Chubb. I'd love for the Chiefs' name to be connected to Bradley Chubb. He's looked, decent this year. He's got $1.9 million base salary this year, so that salary cap wouldn't hurt. But he has a $2.2 million per game roster bonus. So that would be 8 games remaining. Do the math there. You're looking at $11 million or so that they would owe Bradley Chubb if he played every single game, plus the prorated 1.9, so, $1 million. So you're looking at $12 million cap hit for Bradley Chubb. So to trade for him, that sliding scale of giving up more so the Dolphins will take on more of the salary, or giving up less if you take on the salary, I don't know. He's got another year left on his contract, too. Jalen Phillips is a free agent. We'll see. There is breaking news with the Kansas City Chiefs, and in fact, it was something we were going to talk about at noon anyway. According to Ian Rappaport, another report's out there, Josh Simmons has returned to the Kansas City Chiefs. There was talk about him returning at the bye week, but nothing concrete there. But Josh Simmons returning to the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll see if he will be starting against Nick Bonito 13 days from now. We'll talk about that coming up next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We'll hear from Mick Schaefer coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. Learn funniest best in the 1 o'clock hour as well. Talking some Kansas City Chiefs throughout the show today. Thank you to Field Yates joining us in the 11:30 segment as we continue here in the noon hour. The news that broke right before we came back from a break in the previous hour, and that is Josh Simmons, according to reports, has returned to the Kansas City Chiefs. He is at the team facilities and is back with the Chiefs. Multiple people nationally have reported that, so Drew Rosenhaus, I'm guessing, texting people, letting them know that Josh Simmons is back with the Kansas City Chiefs. And the timing is impeccable because at noon, and we didn't talk about it throughout the show so far today. We've talked about the offensive line missing 3 starters, but what I wanted to discuss today in the noon hour was Josh Simmons. And there is a sensitivity to the whole thing, obviously, that we have talked about and we have discussed. We have led with that anytime we've talked about Josh Simmons. We have discussed about, hey, he's taking care of a personal matter, family matter, whatever it may be. Chiefs are, giving him that grace and that latitude to be able to do that. They are understanding of that. There is, at least last couple of weeks when the updates came in, when Andy Reid said it's been positive, Clark Hunt saying it's been positive, they expect him to return. There were also, talks about it being over the bye week that Josh Simmons would return to the Chiefs. That has now happened. But honestly, one of the things that I was going to talk about today is that, and it's come to fruition, but my point was going to be that, Josh Simmons is going to have to decide if he wants to play football or not. At some point. We don't know what's going on. And we've said, whatever's going on is going on. Like, people clearly are not prying to try to find out. There isn't, some investigative reporter outside of his door. There's not, paparazzi hounding him, trying to figure out what the deal is. But he's been gone a month. I mean, he's missed 4 games for the Chiefs for a personal matter that nobody knows what's going on. So, at some point, and it is not to be callous, it's not to be cold, people do deal with personal and family matters all the time. At some point, you have to decide, do I want to be a football player or not? Do I want to play football that year? Do I want to be on that team? And I don't think it is not putting his feelings as a part of the conversation. It is. It's why he had missed 4 games. And the Chiefs need him. He's a big part of this offense. He's a fantastic player. He would have been a top 15 pick, top 10 pick if he wasn't injured. He's proven to be that. The Chiefs have not had to give him help on the outside. They went up against Rousseau and Bosa, and they had pressure with Jalen Moore and Jawan Taylor struggling. They faced Nick Benito coming up a week from Sunday. You'd like, if Jawan Taylor has an ankle injury that may keep him out, you'd like to be able to move Jalen Moore over to the right side and have Josh Simmons play left side. But that was not possible while he was away from the team. It may not be possible with him returning to the team to see if he's going to be in full football shape and ready to go. Hopefully he is. Hopefully he's been working out. Only he knows how much work he's been putting in behind the scenes, dealing with the personal matter and the family matter. But at some point you'd have to decide whether or not you want to play football or just simply be away from the team. And I'm glad that he has returned to the team. Not knowing what the issue is, Chiefs have probably been very understanding about Josh Simmons, where I don't know how many other teams would. But it might have got to the point to where it's like, make a decision, dude. Or we got to put you on some sort of a list because we can't keep going through with 52 men. All right? This is now 4 weeks in a row you've missed, 4 games you've missed, and we haven't put you on IR. You're not injured. We haven't done anything in terms of any move. By the way, trade deadline's up. Do we need to trade for an offensive lineman? Do we need to be like the Chiefs or the Royals? We're not going to trade for pitching at the trade deadline until it became a need that they had to switch their strategy and trade for pitching. If Josh Simmons was not going to be back this year, the Chiefs needed to look into if they had to acquire somebody, because if Jawan Taylor is injured and Jalen Moore has sort of shown some cracks in the foundation, and Wanya Morris is not a guy that you want to go to battle with against a defensive front like the Broncos, I'm not sure what it would have taken or who would have been out there, but you need some answers. And the talks, as they said, have been positive. And I'm glad he's back. And I hope whatever took place has been resolved and everything is great for him and his life, and whatever the family and personal matter was, it worked out for the best in the end, for whatever it might be. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe we never will. I don't know. This is one of those to where it's like, oh, well, when he talks, we'll find out. Well, when he talks, he may just go, it's a personal matter. I don't want to talk about it. And honestly, we may never really find out what took place. But it comes a time when you've got to make that decision. And I'm glad he did. I'm glad he's back, because that would have been a conversation for the next 2 weeks about what the future of Josh Simmons is with the Kansas City Chiefs. Because this is a situation that I've never seen before.
No.
Where a player is gone for a month for a personal matter and nobody knows what it is. Nobody's reported on it. Is it a family health thing? Well, that, people typically would find that out because there would be sympathy of, man, that sucks that he's dealing with that. Charvarius Ward dealt with the death of his daughter. Tragic news, right? And he played the game. Maybe shouldn't have. But it would have been completely understandable if he said, I can't go to work. I can't walk out on the field and play football when my whole body hurts, right? And not a pain that can be treated with ice. It's a pain that will never go away. And it's not going to go away overnight if it does ever go away. Yet he went out there and played. Not that one is better than the other, just that decisions have to be made in terms of what's going on with your family. And again, maybe he shouldn't have played. Maybe that was the wrong choice. But we knew what was going on with Charvarius Ward. We knew the information there. We have no idea what's going on with Josh Simmons.
From a on-field situation here, it is a good time for him to come back, because let's say you insert him against the Bills last game. What's he look like after taking 3 weeks off? I mean,
right.
what does he actually look like? And are you forced to play him over Jalen Moore? Like, do you feel forced to play him over Jalen Moore?
He would have played, I think he would have played when Jawan Taylor went down. You might have just flipped more over to the right side and brought Josh Simmons in at that point.
You probably would have.
But you're talking about starting, and I completely agree with you.
And so having the bye week to get him recalibrated, 13 days, I think is what it is, right? 13 days.
Yep.
To get ready, you're going to have to get ready, and at least you have extra time to get ready now. The Broncos do possess a good pass rush, as we all know. Jalen Moore, I think, again, looks more like a really good backup versus a guy you want to have starting every single game in the small-ish sample size that we have. Again, for the most part, I think we agree Moore's better in run block and Josh Simmons is better in pass pro, and this team is a pass-heavy team, so that leads you to believe that Josh Simmons is a better answer at left tackle. And again, you need all hands on deck. You're 5-4. You're the 8 seed right now. You got to figure some things out, and you had to figure out, is Josh Simmons going to be here from week 9 on, or is it Jalen Moore? And you're right. Do you have to trade for someone? Do you have to bring in some extra help on the O-line? Now it looks like you don't have to, and hopefully this is all put behind him, and Josh Simmons looks like the exact same guy he's looked like the first, was it 5 weeks of the season prior to that? I mean, that's what you're hoping for, but there's still going to be a little bit of wonder of, does he look like that, or is he going to be rusty?
Only the Chiefs could handle this situation the way they did. If this was the Cowboys starting left tackle or the Giants starting left tackle mysteriously disappearing before the game, this would be the biggest story in the world.
Yeah, it would be the biggest. It would be all over the national the national talk shows, right? The ESPN, the First Takes, the Get Ups, the things like that. If it was the Cowboys and their left tackle was missing, the Chiefs have been able to find a way to survive the loss of Josh Simmons. They won every game except for yesterday. And they may have lost that game with Josh Simmons.
Yeah, I don't think it would have. I don't think that was the difference in the game necessarily.
They scored 89 points in the 3 games that he was gone before yesterday. So offensively, they were doing what they needed to do. 30, 31, 28. And then yesterday they scored 21. It would have been nice to have better protection for Patrick Mahomes, certainly. That would have been great. But moving forward, I do worry about a guy who's missed a month and returns, legs. Are they ready to go against a guy like Nick Bonito? But I would also say, like, if he was out with a sprained ankle or something and was put on IR and missed 4 weeks, and it's like, okay, now he's ready to return after the bye week, would we be saying, I don't know, can he go in there and play, while somebody was recovering from an injury? Be like, all right, let's get him out there. Let's go. Let's see what he can do. The difference is, like, with Rashee Rice or Xavier Worthy, offensive line plays 100% of the snaps.
Yeah.
And the wide receivers don't. They were slowly bringing Rashee Rice along after the suspension when he missed 6 weeks. He missed 6 weeks, and they didn't give him the full workload that they typically would. Xavier Worthy misses 3 weeks, gets back in there, and they integrate him here and there, still throwing Tyquan Thornton out there. You can't do that with an offensive lineman. He's playing or not. Even DJ Humphries last year. It was like, how much is DJ Humphries going to play? Oh, they're going to play him the first half. Or they're going to play him like half the time.
Yeah.
They don't want him to play the full game. Well, he played the full game. And in the fourth quarter, he messed up his hamstring. And that was the last he played left tackle for the Chiefs. And at that point, they said they're going with Joe Thuney. If he only played half the game, does he turn out to be a decent left tackle and Joe Thuney stays at left guard? I don't know. We have no idea what would have happened. But he was coming off that knee injury, hadn't played that year, gets thrown into the mix, goes up against Khalil Mack, in that game, and eventually messes up his hamstring by playing every single snap. You can't slowly bring along an offensive lineman if he's ready to play or not. He's either ready to play, you put him out there, and he plays left tackle, or he doesn't, and you feel like you need a little bit more. The difference is practice is not like training camp now.
Yeah.
It's a different type of practice.
And I guess I don't think this would be the case. The locker room seems really tight and very understanding, I think. But you could see a locker room at some point being like, you're a rookie. You missed 4 games for a personal reason. We all have things going on. And if they don't always know the full picture, I mean, how many of the players know the full story?
I bet.
Do you think all the players are the full story, or do you think that they're still? Because
I think that's up to Josh Simmons.
Guys on the offense probably know.
But I think it's up to Josh Simmons. Has Josh Simmons let players know what the full story is?
Because it sounded like he let.
Because once
not many people know.
I would say this: it would be like any workplace. You let one person know what the full story is. That person is like, well, this is why he's out. All right, guys, this is what
they
he's
tell
missing
everyone.
For. And then the next guy tells everyone. And eventually people, whether it's the telephone game or it's just the truth being passed along, hopefully it's not the telephone game, people eventually get some version of whatever's going on.
But that's my point.
But he would have to tell them.
That's kind of my point is I don't know if the full team knows the full story because it's just human nature. You tell your wife, maybe your wife tells a friend. Even if you say, hey, don't tell anyone.
Hey, wife, loose lips sink ships, all right?
No, but
let's keep it within the family.
I'm just saying, in full transparency, that's just human nature.
Yeah.
You'll tell someone, hey, don't tell anyone, and that person says, hey, I'm going to tell you this, but don't tell anyone, and it just happens.
Right.
The fact that no one has heard anything in regard to this tells me that, again, this
no
has
one
been,
said it publicly that they've heard anything.
Correct.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just still a little surprised by that. So that again, you just hope that the locker room is able to handle this and just say, hey, whatever happens. He's back now. Can you put it behind him and not have any of the, not jealousy,
well,
but a little
professional.
bit.
Jalen Moore, I mean, you played, and you played for a reason, and that's because Josh Simmons wasn't there. And if the Chiefs want to put Josh Simmons back in the starting lineup, then Jalen Moore, you're back to being a swing tackle, or if Jawan Taylor's injured, you're playing right tackle. That's the job. That's your role on this team, so go play the role. Now, if you want to be a malcontent and an issue in the locker room, well, then they'll find somebody else to play that role. So this is about winning Super Bowls. Do you want to be on a Super Bowl team or not? And there has to be a level of surrender to the coaching staff's choices as to who's going to be out there, that you got to feel that that's in the best interest of the team, which may not be in the best interest of you specifically.
Yeah.
Jalen Moore's wanted a starting spot. And now he's in the same role that he was with the 49ers, that when Trent Williams is injured, he goes in there and plays.
Yeah.
When Josh Simmons is missing, he goes in there and plays. But he is less than a year away from essentially being the starting right tackle for this team. When they move on from Jawan Taylor and they're paying Jalen Moore the money that they're paying him, he's going to be the right tackle. Josh Simmons is going to be the left tackle. I don't know what's going to happen if Josh Simmons misses games or not next year. I know what happens this year if Simmons misses games. Jalen Moore is going to be in there at left tackle. And if Jawan Taylor misses games, Wanya Morris is going to be in there at right tackle for Jawan Taylor. But now, with Josh Simmons back, you have Jalen Moore that can be your swing tackle one way or another. He can fill in for Josh Simmons, or he can fill in for Jawan Taylor on the right side. You're more likely now to face off against the Denver Broncos with your full allotment of offense that you thought you'd have week one, if not for the Rice suspension. So before Rice was ultimately suspended, when we thought there was going to be that, September 20th or 29th, 20-something meeting that was going to take place after the first 4 weeks in the NFL, there it is for the Chiefs. They want Rice to play the first 4 weeks, whatever. Which, honestly, looking back, would have been nice. But when that was the case, it was like, here's your offensive line. It's going to be Simmons, Kingsley, Creed, Smith, and Taylor. And your wide receivers are going to be Rice, Worthy, Hollywood. Kelsey at tight end. Thornton has looked pretty good. Juju's doing Juju things. Pacheco looks re-energized. Kareem Hunt's back to be the short yardage situation. Brashard Smith might add a spark here or there. This is what the offense is going to look like. Rashee Rice missing, Xavier Worthy missing, and then Josh Simmons missing. Denver could be the first opportunity, and Pacheco missing. Denver could be the first opportunity with Pacheco back, Simmons back, Taylor at right tackle, Kingsley, Trey, or at Kingsley, Creed, and Trey, and then Rice, Worthy, Hollywood at your offensive line.
I'm with you.
Doesn't mean it makes a difference from what we saw the weeks before yesterday.
I'm with you. To me, I never buy in too much to what it was supposed to be because it's the NFL and injuries happen to every single team. And so you have to have depth, and that's what it comes down to. So even if Pacheco misses, I don't love being like, well, this is the first time well,
if Pacheco misses, you get more Clyde. I mean, come on, man. How can you not want more Clyde? And you guys thought Clyde Edwards-Helaire was gone.
Yeah, I guess you're correct, by the way, on the fact or fiction, who gets more carries. Was it Brashard or was it going to be Elijah Mitchell? I guess technically it was the 3 carries for Brashard.
But
it was under the 5.5.
But Matt and I were both wrong on the 5.5 over/under.
And
he
was under. Yeah. I told you guys. No one listens.
Well,
it's a total fabrication.
Thank you.
I didn't think Clyde would get 2 carries. I would have lost that bet. I mean, I know they elevated him, but I thought they elevated him
in case of emergency.
I mean, what's the point of elevating him if you're not going to make him active on game day?
I guess.
So there ain't a team out there that was going to go, we're going to go sign Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Oh, God, we better elevate him or we're going to lose Clyde. Like, that wasn't the case.
I felt so bad. His first run was not his fault at all because Jawan got rocked.
Got killed by Bosa. I mean, Bosa just, went right around Jawan Taylor, and Clyde was like, well, bleep.
I know. And
what do you want me to do?
And there's nothing he could have done there. And so, but it was just funny seeing the first play, or the first carry for him going for -2 yards, and you're like, my goodness. His second run was good. His second run for 7 yards was really nice, real solid. I feel bad for Clyde because he's been a little bit of a punching bag in this joke, and it's not all his fault. But it just was very funny, that first carry for -2, and it's just like, there you go. There's the carry.
Yeah. You're like, thank God they got that.
Again, not his fault, but still very...
it's not your fault.
It wasn't his fault, but it's still very funny.
And it's just what we've been talking about. It's not his fault.
Yes, he can.
Bob Costas would have loved to step in for Clyde Edwards-Helaire at that point.
Can he go for -2 yards? Then yes, he can.
Yes, he can.
And that's just the point we were making.
It's not his fault. Jawan Taylor got his ass whipped. Joey Bosa went right around Jawan Taylor with a little fake outside and went inside. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, there's nothing he can do. They also set it for the field goal at that after that set of downs.
Yeah.
They had got down the field, and it was 1st down and 10.
By the way, real quick.
Yep.
Was Buffalo actually icing Harrison Butker in the second quarter with 9.5 left?
I don't know what they were doing with the 4th down and 5, unless they thought, we've seen something on tape where they're going to try to draw us off sides, and we're not ready for that. Timeout. Hey, be ready for what I have no idea, but the timeout was interesting because then they came over and one of the guys on special teams was talking with Sean McDermott. Like, they didn't have too many men on the field.
My only thing was, did they have 10? And even if you have 10, you probably still just say, let them kick it.
Yeah.
Unless you had 12 or you were icing them.
But if you had 12 in formation, I guess the kick wasn't imminent or the play wasn't imminent if you had 12 in formation.
And also, that's not a situation where the Chiefs would have ran a fake there. You're not when you have Patrick Mahomes, you're not running a fake on 4th and 5 with special teams. I don't know. I literally thought that McDermott was trying to ice Harrison Butker, and shout out Harrison for having maybe the best kick of the year. I mean, the 59-yarder that was, but as far as just pure, right? Just a pure high arching right down the middle.
The 19-yarder before half.
That 49-yard, whatever it was, at 49, I think.
Yeah, it was 49. Yeah.
It was nice to see. So I'll tip my cap and say that.
Or 46.
46. It was great to see, especially with the was he or was he not icing. It's like hockey. No one knows what icing is.
Did you think at the with the ball at the, what was it, 20 or the 30-yard line, whatever it was, 29-30, with 4th down and 5, if they would have gone for it? I didn't think they were, because it was less than 50 yards, and it seemed like that pass to Worthy when it was 3rd down and 12 for 7 yards.
Oh, you mean when they did kick the field goal?
Yeah, when they kicked the field goal, it was 4th and 5.
No, I thought they were going to kick it there.
I did too. Once Worthy caught the ball, I was like, all right, well, this is setting up for a shorter.
It was setting up for the 46-yarder.
And it puts you up 10-7. Like, I know it's tied 7-7, but you're there, you're in position. It gives you the lead. Defense goes out there. Defense just got a 3 and out. So
that was a little momentum change,
and
too.
Defense got back-to-back stops because they got the 4th down and 2 stop.
Yes.
Then a 3 and out. So you're thinking, okay, let's put points on the board, go up 10-7. If we can get another stop, we could potentially, have a possession to where, can we go up 10 and then still have another possession before halftime to double up? Boy, we got a chance. Let's put points on the board here and let our defense go out there and play defense and get the ball back, and we'll be in this position again. But the Bills drove down the field, and that Kincaid 47-yard catch on 2nd and 13, that one was rough.
Yeah, I mean, again, it was one of those situations where I get the thought process behind it, and the momentum just shifted because they made a great play. I don't know how, I think it was Drew on that one as well.
Yeah.
I will say also, Noah Williams didn't look like he had his best game. He looked confused out there more than anything. I don't know if you noticed that on a couple plays. It looked like Noah Williams was confused. Not that he wasn't. I still think Noah Williams is very talented. I'm really excited for the future for him, but we probably should have pumped the brakes a little bit on the crowning him as a.
If you want to crown him, then crown his ass.
But he's played great. But this game just felt like that. I didn't even know if he played very much, but I just noticed that a couple of breakdowns. Whether he was supposed to.
Well, that Kincaid one, was he supposed to be there, or was Drew Tranquil supposed to continue running over? Because Tranquil stopped, and Kincaid crossed his face, and then Tranquil started running, and Noel Williams was playing in an area that nobody was there.
Yeah, that was one of the plays.
Yeah, was he too close to? Was he not? Did he not drop far enough back?
Yeah, and so there was a couple of Noel Williams in this game, and it's. Again, I don't know his exact assignments.
Or was Tranquil supposed to be on Kincaid the whole way across?
Correct. And because so we don't know the assignments. But
because Noel Williams was on Keon Coleman, and Coleman had a short slant, and Noel Williams followed him a little bit. Not fully, so it didn't feel like it was man-to-man.
Yeah.
He followed him, and then he started to fade back a little bit, and that's when Kincaid came into that. So maybe Noel Williams was supposed to follow Coleman and then drop, or it was just a hell of a route concept against that particular defense, and the Bills took advantage of it.
It just felt like some miscommunication in the secondary, and the secondary has been inconsistent this year. They've either been phenomenal or they've been brutal. They haven't really had many average games. The secondary either looks like they are locked down, or it looks like this game, the Jacksonville game, or the Chargers game. They've been inconsistent. There's no average, and you can tell pretty early on if it's great or bad. And this was one where they were bad. I mean, you look at the defense. Who played a great game? I think Nick Bolton played a solid game this game. I thought Nick Bolton made some plays.
Was fine.
Chanel was okay.
Yeah, Chanel was fine. Chris Jones was bad.
Karlaftis had jumping jacks at one point.
Yep. Drew Tranquil played maybe his worst game as a Chief.
Yeah, and that was a bummer because he's played really well all season long.
but
After I'd been
terrible.
talking about him too, and he played that game, that's not. But seriously, in the second, Brian Cook, fine.
He was okay. He got, the pass to James Cook that resulted in a first down late in that game.
Yeah,
Cook could have been a little bit better.
I don't know who was supposed, because three guys went to Josh.
Right.
Which was the one that was? I can't imagine 3 on Josh and 0 on Cook. I think it should have been 2 and 1. I don't know who the guy was.
I think Cook needed to stay out there. That would be my guess. Is that Cook isn't the guy that's going to be the furthest outside.
I know it was him or was McDuffie also?
McDuffie was there too.
Yeah.
I don't know who the responsibility was, but I would guess
Someone
the guy
had to be.
I would guess the guy that's furthest outside would not need to also cut inside of the running back to go after the quarterback.
Just defensively, it was a full effort of everyone to not really step up.
Effort is not a good word to use for Chris Jones in this one. So it was a team. It's a team game, and it took the whole team defense working together at times to have the 28 points scored against them.
And then again, only 7 points in the second half.
Only
it's
one,
very weird.
Yeah, only one scoring drive in the second half, but certainly there was a lot left to be desired with the play of Drew Tranquil. And it's another, we could take a break and talk about this on the other side, but it is another play that is on film of Chris Jones standing there. The Josh Allen quarterback sneak, he stopped. When he went to the left side, he was pushed 2 yards back, and then he stops, then he goes to the right a little bit, and he ends up picking up the first down, while Chris Jones is just standing there.
But I was told...
He went to the left, and Chris Jones stopped. He went away from Chris Jones, and he bleeping stopped, and then Josh Allen dove, picked up the first down while Chris Jones is watching.
I was told the Jacksonville one was a learning moment.
Yeah, well, what we learned is that, what I told you after, is that ain't happening. This is Chris Jones. When Chris Jones thinks he's out of the play, he stops. It's what he does. The play's not going in my direction. I'm done. I'm being double teamed. I'm good. I've done my job. There's a guard and a center blocking me. No way I can make it through that. I'm good. You guys go and rush Josh Allen or whoever. Oh, it's a quarterback sneak the other way. He's going to the left. It's what they always do. He's going to the left. So I come up and he's not, oh, crap, he's coming my way. Oh, he dives right in front of me, right at my feet, first down. Man, imagine if I would have busted through there with this guy that was guarding me or blocking me that did not have the angle on me if I fought through. Because, I'm Chris Jones. Maybe you stuffed Josh Allen for a loss of a yard or two on that one. Maybe. I don't know. We'll never know because the play wasn't going in his way. So, you don't want to put out that much effort. And also then on a running play, when you know it's a running play, you don't want to put out enough effort where Spencer Brown drives you 8 yards back.
Oh, man, yeah.
But you know what? They'll tackle the running back on his way to the quarterback, as he said. Make Spags mad, but we tackle the running back on the way to the quarterback. Okay, well, you were on the way to the goal line. That's where you were heading. You had skates on that play. Spencer Brown should not be able to dominate you 8 yards back like that. That's you not giving the effort on that particular play. So I wouldn't use effort when he did make a play when he got pressure on the outside and then Chanel made the sack. That was helped by Chris Jones. That was good. So he had a couple of plays in there where it stood out. But imagine if he'd made other plays besides just that one.
Couple notes on Chris Jones on the other side I want to get into.
Yeah. All right. We'll take a timeout. More zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Mick Schaefer joins us in the 1 o'clock hour. We'll probably talk some Chiefs with him. Maybe. College basketball gets underway tonight, World Series was one of the best seven-game series we've seen. Just one of the best World Series we've ever seen, certainly in my lifetime. 85 was pretty awesome, too. That's in my lifetime. I was 5 years old when that happened. I remember every second of that World Series. Great call at first. No missed calls in that series at all. All 7 games, perfect umpiring. That's what I say.
Do you want some Chris Jones numbers?
Let's see what it is. I don't know. It's if it's PFF, it's a data point.
It's a data point. It's PFF, but it's some unfun numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, unfun numbers. So Chris Jones, let's go like 22 on, because I feel like that's fair for 22 on, just age wise and everything. 22, 92.3 grade. 23, 88.1 grade. 24, 90.2 grade. What do you think this year's grade is?
I'm guessing it's not as high as those.
You want to take just a guess? Just a guess.
77.
We wish 60.3.
Oh, okay.
So in 22, we're 9 games into the season, right? For Kansas City, 9 games in. 22, he had 97 pressures. 23, 91 pressures. 24, 88 pressures. Any idea how many he's had this year in 9 games?
20?
29.
29. Okay.
So, but halfway through, and he's had 97, 91, 80. No, you wish he was pacing for half. He's pacing for 58. That's 30 less than last year.
Yeah.
It's not great, Bob. Sacks, 17, 15, 7 this year. 2.
He got the 2?
2.
Yeah.
He has 9 tackles, only 4. He has 4 missed tackles. Not great. That is the highest percentage he's ever had in his career. Batted balls. 1.
Yeah, that's there's always something about his. That was part of his career that he was so good at, was knocking those passes down when he did not get to the quarterback. And we don't see that anymore.
So the point I'm trying to make, it's not me trying to do the whole, Mike Sweeney conversation where, because the rest of the defensive line's not done a lot either. If we're being transparent, it's not that the rest of the defensive line's been great and Chris Jones has been an issue. Karlaftis has been above average as far as defensive edges go in the NFL. He's been fine. Chris Jones has gone from elite and the best interior pass rusher in the NFL in one season to simply good.
Yeah, I mean, this
has not been this decrease of he's no longer elite, but he's still great. No, he's gone from elite to above average ish.
Right.
In 1 year, and the Chiefs were not counting on that. The contract is not counting on that.
Well, and part of it that we've talked about in the past was, he's double teamed and he's still getting through. He's facing all these double teams and he's still game wrecking even with these double teams. They move him around to find the weak spots in the offensive line, and whether they're not doing that this year or the weak spots in the offensive line aren't being exposed, or he's just simply not winning against double teams, which is tough to do, right? But that's part of getting paid that money, is to win against double teams. He isn't wrong last night when he says guys have to win their one-on-one battles, which is essentially the rest of the defensive line needs to win their one-on-one battles, because I think his point is I don't get many of those one-on-ones. But when you get them, you got to win. That long pass to Dalton Kincaid, that wasn't a quick pass. Josh Allen sat in the pocket for a little bit. He was looking right. He stepped up. He then took another step to his left. And it was bringing 4 guys, maybe a mistake by Spags. He blitzed Nick Bolton, but there were only 3 down linemen, and he brought Bolton. So you only had 4 guys pressuring Josh Allen. Leo Chanel dropped out. Drew Tranquil dropped out into coverage. Bolton was being blocked one-on-one by the center and wasn't making progress. Jerry Tillery was being blocked one-on-one by the right guard Torrance. Shocker, wasn't making progress. And George Karlaftis was being blocked one-on-one by Spencer Brown at right tackle, who's a really good right tackle. But George Karlaftis wasn't close.
Yeah.
Like he lost that rep by a decent margin. So Josh Allen was able to sit in the pocket. He looked deep to Curtis Samuel, who was running a seam, I think he may have had him. Connor turned and ran with him. I think if he throws it, he probably throws it over the safeties that were back there. He had Johnson in a short pass to the right that was about, because this was second and 13, so this is about the original line of scrimmage. And there was a defender like 5 yards behind him. He could have dumped it off quickly. Had he had pressure, that's your go-to. There's pressure here. Boom, let me throw it to Johnson. Chiefs come up, make a tackle, 3rd and 10, something like that. He had a crosser that was picked up by Leo Chenal, who dropped into coverage in that zone and then matched the route by the guy that was crossing his face, so he was covered. And then he had Dalton Kincaid coming open, working an over route to an area of the zone that was not covered. But it took a little bit to get there. And it also took the Chiefs not pressuring him to get there.
Yeah.
Now, I think if he had to do it over again, maybe Spags blitzes. But if Spags blitzes, then is the under route open that Chanel was guarding? Or is nobody on Johnson on the outside and they just throw the ball to him and he runs down the sideline? It's like, well, what happened out there? Well, we blitzed and we didn't get there. But they cannot pressure with 4. But part of that pressuring with 4 was Nick Bolton being one of the 4.
Yeah.
Nick Bolton's good at blitzing when you find the advantages and the numbers. But Nick Bolton blitzing right ahead where the center has nobody else to worry about but Nick Bolton. By the way, I should say the left guard and left tackle were blocking Chris Jones. So he was getting double teamed on that. So when I talk about Bolton in the center, Jerry Tillery, the right guard, and George Karlaftis, the right tackle, Chris Jones was being double teamed by the left guard and the left tackle. Everybody else had one-on-one matchups, and nobody won, which allowed 2nd and 13 for Josh Allen to sit in the pocket and wait for that route to come open and not have to dump it to Johnson quickly, because Bosa wins right away, or Rousseau won right away, where Mahomes has to do that. Allen didn't have to do that really much last night. The Chiefs got some sacks on him, but where there was quick pressure, there wasn't many of those, certainly only rushing 4.
And again, this is where the interesting part lies. George Karlaftis has 44 pressures this year, which is second most among defensive linemen. Karlaftis has gotten a lot of pressure. He has, where you look, if you count half or not, anywhere from 5 to 6 sacks. Sometimes sacks kind of get wonky in that regard. Karlaftis has been pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Jones, again, I'm not saying I don't love Chris Jones, and I don't think that he's just completely washed. It's just I am a little confused why we sometimes use double teams, and again, it's not all his fault. The guy, Tillery and Dana and Gelati and anyone else, they need to step up as well. I'm not arguing that, but those guys aren't getting paid $30 million a year.
Agreed.
Right? At some point, you got to take some sort of responsibility for you are paid to be elite. Double teams are not. Do you think that the Browns fans would love hearing that if Myles Garrett was well, he's double teamed. Who cares if he's double teamed? He's getting to him. And again, if Chris Jones is always on the interior, that's why he's moving to the outside to get an advantage. He's moving all around to get these one-on-ones and these advantages. If Myles Garrett was doing what Chris Jones is doing, it would be a debacle. What about Micah Parsons? What about the Bosas? I mean, this is part of the conversation. When you are paid elite money and you are expected to be elite, at some point, double teams, it's an excuse.
Yeah.
You don't want to hear it. You have to have the results. You have to have the results. Can they figure it out? And again, it's not like the Browns' defensive line is phenomenal outside of Myles Garrett. It's not like the Packers' defensive line is ridiculous outside of Micah Parsons. He has help with George Karlaftis. The other two guys have been brutal, whoever it has been on the Chiefs' D-line. But at some point, I'm tired of the excuses.
You would think at some point it happens.
There's just too many plays where it feels like he's taking it off.
Yeah. And he said that it was a learning experience against the Jags, and I said right after it happened, I'm like, it's not. I mean, this is who he's been. Like, there are different things that people bring to the table. Karlaftis brings to the table a motor that doesn't stop. But he doesn't win quickly, typically. All right, he's not going to win against double teams, and they're really not going to double team Karlaftis. All right, so he's getting pressures because he gets a lot of one-on-ones. Whereas some of these other defensive linemen that are up there in pressures, Myles Garrett's getting double teamed. Aiden Hutchinson's getting double teamed. some of the other Micah Parsons getting double teamed, right? He's having to face the defensive line that is sliding coverage to him. That's what they're doing with Chris Jones. Karlaftis is facing one-on-ones a lot. He's just not winning quickly. Chris Jones used to do that, and maybe there's still that left in the tank. I don't know. And maybe it's not left in the tank, and that's why he has to conserve some of the energy from time to time. But if he has to conserve energy, then put him on the sideline.
I will say this. The double team rate for Chris Jones is, according to PFF, 61%. But that is nowhere near the top. I mean, you got to go down a lot of names. Like Leonard Williams and Dexter Lawrence are getting double teamed at 72%.
Yeah.
I mean, DeForest Buckner, 67%. I mean, Jalen Carter, 66. Deshaun Hand, Quinnen Williams. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I can go through a lot more names. A lot of guys are run stoppers, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'm talking like pass rushing defensive linemen.
Yeah.
And you got to go way down before you get to Chris Jones.
Yeah. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. More zone coming up next. All right, wrap it up this hour. One more hour to go. We got Learn Funniest Best before the show is over in the 1 o'clock hour. What we learned from the weekend, funniest from the weekend, and best from the weekend. We'll hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes on the other side of the break. News for the Kansas City Chiefs today. If you're just joining us, Josh Simmons has returned to the team, is at the team facilities today. We'll see if he will be ready to go and play against the Broncos next Sunday, a week from Sunday, in Denver, with a massive game now. Chiefs sitting 5-4, 2 games behind Denver. They can get right back in the AFC West race with a win against Denver and still getting Denver at home. But they got to go to Denver and win that game.
Have to have it.
Got to have it. Need it. One more hour to go. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. Heading up until 2 o'clock. We got Learn Funniest Best coming up later on this hour. Let's hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Here is, let's play clip number 1 here. Let's just go through them with Andy and Patrick talking after the game was over last night. Here's Andy Reid was asked about what happened before half and not coming away with the touchdown and deciding to kick the field goal.
Hey, you got to score. You got to score a touchdown. You know, that's you don't want to come out with a field goal. Although, listen, within it, we were still within striking distance, so it wasn't like, you know, we had opportunities. Can't start the second half the way we did. That's again my responsibility. Make sure that doesn't happen, and it did.
Is there consideration to try one more time there from the 1 on 4 down before going into the half?
I wanted points. We had to come out there with points. So, no, I thought about it for sure, but I thought getting the field goal was the right thing to do right there.
I would have liked for them to go for it. I think that was deflating for the Chiefs heading to halftime. I think it was inflating for the Bills heading into halftime after Hollywood Brown caught the ball. It was 7 points on the board. Yeah. I mean, it was all but done. And I know there was still 20 seconds left and he had one timeout, but it was 7. They were going to score. You're not going to stop Kareem Hunt, right? They did. And then Mahomes on 2nd and 3rd down, incomplete passes, and then, you know, we see what happens and choosing the field goal. They lose by 7. It's the butterfly effect. We know that, but my issue with kicking the field goal is I think you needed all 7 at that point, and those 4 points were huge. I get the strategy behind you go for it on 4th down there, because if you don't get it, the other team starts at the 1. You lose that part of the strategy. So you, quote-unquote, needed points with you getting the ball to start the second half, and maybe you can tie it up immediately. Sure. If you felt like you were going to come out and have an offensive drive that you're going to put together and do what they had typically done to start the second half, which is go and score points. They had taken that opening drive of the 3rd quarter, and they have scored points with it. They just came out feeling pretty lackluster. It just looked like there was no energy there to start the second half. And maybe that was because you felt like you were going to get a touchdown. It might be different if the Chiefs drive the field, that pass to Hollywood isn't there. They move down the field methodically, and then they end up, you know, getting like a 42-yard field goal. It's like, all right, you got points right before half. Now you run in halftime. Mahomes runs out. Good job, you know, high-fiving the offensive line and Harrison Butker, and they jog into the end zone or jog into the halftime, come back out of the locker room, and they feel energized, like, all right, we got those points. We can tie it up now. We were down 21-10. Now we got possession to go and tie the game up. But once Hollywood got tackled at the 1, getting anything less than 7 would feel the same to me.
I was bummed, or I was excited at first that Hollywood went down at the 1.
I know.
Because I thought, okay, great, now you can take even time off the clock so that way the Bills don't get a chance to go and try and make a field goal. And boy, was I dumb.
You were so dumb.
So dumb.
Why are you so
apparently stumble, bumble, rumble into the end zone and get to 7 then. Yeah, I overthought that. I was like, good news for the Chiefs that Hollywood got stopped on the half-yard line.
Yeah, no, it
dumb.
Did not turn out to be good news, unfortunately, that he was stopped at the half-yard line.
Yeah, no, anytime you can run out of shotgun to the right side where Juwan Taylor's at, you got to do it.
Yeah.
Anytime you have to do it, just...
Yeah. He got tackled with 40 seconds remaining in the first half.
Yeah. Seemed smart at the time.
And they got all the way up there, and you felt like maybe they could have run a play before the Bills ultimately got the touchdown or the timeout with, 20 seconds to
like
go?
22 or something like that, I thought, yeah.
Something along those lines. But that was not the case, and they did not get 7 there. That was a pretty big moment. Here's Patrick Mahomes. This is clip number 2. Here's Patrick Mahomes weighing in on what happened there right before half.
Yeah, we got to find a way to get in the end zone. Just after the big play and getting down at the half-yard line, the run play, we weren't able to get in, and two chances for me, and I tried to get to Trav, and obviously took the big hit. But we got to find a way to get in the end zone. So I got to be better there, and situationally we got to be better. I thought we had a couple of those where we didn't really execute at a high enough level, and that's why we got the loss.
I mean, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes both say it. Like, you got to find a way to get in the end zone at that point. You know, they didn't, and they got the field goal. And, you know, the rest, as they say, is a history for the second half. Patrick Mahomes was asked the message to the team and what they're feeling now heading into the bye week.
We've had great moments. We've had bad moments. We got to be more consistent as a team. I got to be more consistent at quarterback. And we got to be able to battle. I mean, we've kind of been in a lot of these tight, close games in our history, but they're not going our way now. So how can we deal with that adversity? How can we be better and learn from it? I mean, you can only learn from so many losses. I mean, you gotta learn from it fast, and it's gonna be an uphill battle when we get back. But I think our guys are up to it.
You got to learn from it fast. You know, you got the bye week, then you get the Denver Broncos. And it's stretch run at that point, man. I mean, look, we went through and looked in 17-game seasons. There has been only one team in the AFC that won 10 games and did not make the playoffs in the 17-game season. They're 5-4. So that means going 5-3 the rest of the way. 5-3 the rest of the way to get to 10. Historically get you in. 6-2, you're in.
Yeah.
11 wins. There's never been an 11-win team in the 17-game season not make the playoffs.
That you're safe if you go 6-2.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Which includes, if you were to lose to the Broncos. Problem is, now you got to go 6-1. Or you go 5-2 the rest of the way if you lose to the Broncos.
Oh.
If you say get to 10 wins, you can go, 5-3. Lose to the Broncos, now you got to go 5-2 the rest of the way just to get to 10 wins.
10 probably gets you into. The issue is the Jaguars hold the tiebreaker over you. The Bills hold the tiebreaker over you.
Mm-hmm.
Chargers, we'll find out. You have to win that second one.
I think the Patriots and the Bills out of the East are going to make the playoffs.
Agreed.
I think the AFC North winner is going to be the only one that makes the playoffs.
I would agree with that.
Which means that there's 3 teams, which means you've got 4 spots left with Indianapolis. Well, I'll put Indianapolis in there as well. So let's say Indianapolis makes the playoffs. There's 4. That means you've got 3 spots left for Jacksonville, Denver, Chargers, and Kansas City.
I would.
Can they be one of those 4 teams for 3 spots?
I would throw in, to an extent, I don't love doing it, Houston.
Chiefs get Houston at home.
We'll see
what Houston would have to win that game. They're still a game behind the Chiefs.
The reason why I say Houston is because they have the Jags, the Titans, you have the Bills, you have the Colts, you have the Chiefs, you have the Chargers, you have the Colts again. Yeah. I know it's a relatively difficult schedule, but I'm saying you have a lot of area and room to make up ground.
Yeah, you do.
So, and again,
with an offensive line that is, but the issues that are there as to why they're a 3-5 team.
They're the best defense in football. They have a plus 47 point differential while scoring only 168 points.
Yeah, 5 of their 8 games they've scored fewer than 20 points this year.
They've scored as many points as the Jets this year.
Yeah, 5 of their 8 games they've scored fewer than 20.
The Jets have a minus 53 point differential. It's been 100 points difference on defense between the Jets and the Texans. That's not a hyperbole. I mean, if that Texans offense gets anything going, they are the best defense in football.
Well, they're 3-0 when they score 20 points. They're 0-5 when they don't score 20.
Again, my point, I'm not trying to get on a Houston tangent. I don't think they make the playoffs, but the point remains I'm not ready to say that they are for sure out.
Well, what's interesting is, like, this weekend, you're going to be rooting for Houston against Jacksonville at home.
Yeah.
Because Jacksonville has the tiebreaker over you. The Chiefs will be able to earn the tiebreaker later on in the season. But they play Jacksonville and Tennessee, like you said, but then they still have to play home to Buffalo, at Indianapolis, at Kansas City. They still have to go to the Chargers, and they still play the Colts again.
Yeah.
The Texans do.
It's a tough schedule. I'm not disagreeing.
It is.
Yeah.
So I think the AFC South, your winner, right? The winner of the North, the winner of the East, and then, though, in New England. There's 4 teams that I think are in. Well, not even think it. I mean, the 3 division winners, obviously. Not counting the AFC West. So that leaves 3 spots for teams that would include the Jags, the Broncos, the Chargers, the Chiefs, and if you want to throw in Houston. Maybe Baltimore being 3-5, the Chiefs also have the tiebreaker over them. Although Baltimore's only a game back of the Chiefs. Without the tiebreaker, they're only a game back.
If the Bengals would have won last night or yesterday, they would have had a case because whenever Joe Burrow comes back, but that defense is beyond atrocious. I mean, that defense has given up nearly double what the Chiefs' defense has this year.
Yeah, so let's go. 3 spots, and I'll throw in Baltimore too. 3 spots for 6 teams. Broncos, Chargers, Chiefs. There's 3. And then Jags, Texans, Ravens. The Chiefs need to be one of those 3 teams and finish ahead of 3 of them to make the playoffs. You finish ahead of 3 of those teams. They have a 1-game lead on Houston, and they play them at home. They've got a 1-game lead on Baltimore, and they have already beaten them. They're a game down to the Chargers, and they lost to them. They get them at home to even that out. 2 games down to Denver. They've got 2 of them. Lose a week from Sunday, 3 games down, and only 1 game to make up head-to-head. You're not winning the division at that point.
Yeah.
I think Denver has set themselves up to be the division winner, or even the Chargers maybe. But with the injuries and everything, now they're talking about having a procedure on Joe Walt's ankle because, he missed 4 games with the high ankle sprain, re-injuring it, getting carted off, and now there's discussion of whether or not you just want to have a surgical procedure on that ankle.
The Chargers' ability to stay alive has been very impressive with the plethora of injuries that have been happening to that team.
But they also stayed alive against the Titans,
I get it. They have been, and they've lost to the Giants and Commanders, and I get that. The point, and they've stayed alive with the Dolphins.
They've got Pittsburgh this weekend.
But the name of the game is staying alive and stacking wins. Yeah. I mean, at that point, it doesn't matter if you stay alive. The Chiefs stayed alive a lot last year.
Here's the
Broncos have stayed alive this year.
The Chargers, with all their injuries, here's what they have left. Pittsburgh at home, at Jacksonville, the bye week. Raiders at home. Then Eagles at home, at Kansas City, at Dallas, Houston at home, at Denver. That's what the Chargers have left. I'm not really concerned. Maybe it's whistling past the graveyard, but I'm not really concerned about the Chargers because of the injuries that they have. And facing a Steelers defense that just did that to the Colts, one of the best offenses in the league, and they were all over Daniel Jones. The Jags is going to be an interesting one because the Jags survive a game over the weekend and in overtime against the freaking Raiders coming off a bye. And now they've got to get a divisional game against Houston this weekend. If they lose that one, it might be like, boy, the Jags better win this game against the Chargers. They might have that huge, full sense of urgency at that point. And the Jags can put pressure on the quarterback. And with a bad offensive line, Tennessee was all over Justin Herbert when Joe Alt left the game.
Yeah.
I mean, credit to Herbert in being able to stand upright and make some of those plays. But every other pass, he had somebody in his face immediately. Like, it was quick wins by the Tennessee Titans. And so that's an issue, obviously, for the Chargers. And the Chiefs play the Denver Broncos twice. Again, we can talk about playoffs.
Sure.
We can talk about playoffs, but I think there are 6 teams for 3 spots. And the Chiefs are a game up on 2 of them, have the tiebreaker on 1 of them, play another of them at home, play another one of those teams at home that could have the tiebreaker. They are chasing 3 of them, though, because they're 4th out of the 6 teams right now.
It would have felt a lot better if the Raiders could have held on /won against Jacksonville in overtime. They had a chance.
If Geno would have looked to the right and not stared down a receiver and threw it right into a defensive tackle's arms.
And then they still went to overtime, and they had a chance. They scored a touchdown, 3rd touchdown for Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
And they went for 2.
And Geno threw it right into a defensive lineman's arms. If he just looks to the right, he's got a guy standing in the end zone like, hey, I'm right here. And he's just staring left. Let me throw it right there to a guy who's jumping. Oh, darn it. How did that get knocked down?
Yeah.
What are the odds of that, Geno? Anyway, but yeah, it would have been nice. I was very annoyed at that game because I wanted the Raiders to win. You start
wild to root for the Raiders,
right? And we're scoreboard watching even more now.
Yes,
and that's where the Chiefs are at. That's the position they're in. That's the position that they've put themselves in by having yet another game where after the game is over, we hear players say, we just didn't have the energy that they had to start the game. We just need to match the energy of the other team. There's a bee in here. Hey, bee.
It's fine. It's like
Busy
the Bee
bee.
movie. That might be what's his name from the Bee movie.
Well, why are they all over here? This is like the third one that's come in here.
There's nothing
All right?
wrong. They're trying to make honey, okay?
B is more aggressive than the Chiefs' pass rush.
Yeah, bees are all in my face right now, right? I'm not Josh Allen at all. Josh Allen would be sitting around with nothing in his face whatsoever.
You can catch flies with honey, but you catch more honeys being fly.
Go to break.
You can catch flies with honey, but you catch more honeys being fly.
It's absolutely right. I mean, it's one of the oldest sayings in the book. I believe that was that Corinthians?
Confucius.
Ah.
Yeah.
I always get those mixed up.
Close. Yeah, I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was close, man. But yeah, that is absolutely true. Everybody knows this. It is time for a little Learn Funniest Best. Sterling, what's it brought to you by?
Oh, baby. This is brought to you by...
Yeah, oh, baby. Oh, baby. See, you're worried about all the honeys that you're attracting being fly. You know what I mean? And all we're saying is keep these damn bees out of the studio. That's all I want.
I did have a honey, or a honey. I did have a bee on my calf because I like to stand outside and let the warmth shine in.
And so you had a bee on your calf.
I had a bee on my calf. It was nice. You freak out by them. They're just little guys. They're not going to hurt you. They're not going to hurt you.
I know. I just don't want them to bother me while I'm talking. You know what I mean? Then all of a sudden they fly behind me. Now I can't see them. I got a bee on my 6, and nobody's watching my 6. I know you're not watching my 6.
No,
I know that.
I'll probably have about 6 of these this week, and I'm heading out to Columbia to watch the Missouri Texas A&M game.
There you go.
And you better believe I will be bringing some Cutwater with me.
Right?
Real cocktails, perfectly mixed. Create your ritual before your favorite college football game and every Kansas City football game. I will be bringing some Cutwaters with me because I don't want to bring a shaker. I don't want to bring a lime and triple sec and tequila and all. Why when I can have 12.5% in a can? I'll bring a 4-pack of these Cutwater lime margaritas. I'll probably bring more for the fellas as well. We'll have a nice tailgate out there in Como, and why not bring those? So that way it's easy. It's delicious.
Right.
It's simple. I look like my largesse knows no bounds by giving away free cocktails to some friends.
You look fly.
And I will look fly.
Which will attract the honeys.
I will be bringing a lot of Cutwaters as well as neutrals to the tailgate Saturday morning as the Missouri Tigers with Zollers hopefully take down A&M, and it's better this time.
Mazzoller Tigers?
The Mazzoller Tigers.
You see what I did there?
And if not, the Cutwaters will make it fun either way.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into the...
It's like my diet. I cut water out.
I see. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Let's get into Learn Funniest Best. What we learned from the weekend, funniest from the weekend, and best from the weekend. What I learned from the weekend is that we are, close is a relative term, but we are close to a 70-yard field goal. I mean, Cam Little from 68 yards, and legs are only getting stronger. All right, kickers are only getting more accurate, and kicks a 68-yard field goal before half. I think there's going to be an opportunity, whether this year or next year, where a kicker lines up right before half for a 70-yard attempt, 69, nice, or a 70-yard attempt. And we are not far removed from seeing a 68-yard field goal when it was like 62, 63 was like, oh, my God. And now 68, and it's like, oh, yeah, had a couple of yards that may have made it. So these
Brandon
legs,
Aubrey, I feel like
stupid.
might be the guy. And if you are Brandon Aubrey and the Cowboys, you might just do it anyways.
Right?
Just try it. I mean, your defense is buns.
If you're up by a few scores,
yes,
get down to that area, take a knee to where you would put the ball at the 40-yard line, your own 40-yard line.
Your own 40.
And kick that thing through.
Let her rip.
Yes.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, do it. And it's not just because I have him on my fantasy football team. By the way,
do you get 7 points for a 70?
I need to talk with the commissioner on this one and see if we can bump that bad boy up.
5 points for anything 50 or plus?
Yeah, I used to be. I thought if he was 60, he'd get 6, but some
Why not?
BS happened.
Why wouldn't it be 60? You get 6?
Did you take that away?
But why wouldn't you get, if you get 3 for 30 and 4 for 40 and 5 for 50, why does it stop?
I think it's absurd.
That is dumb.
I
just learned that your league is dumb.
I learned that
you use kickers, which is dumb. But go ahead.
Very smart when you have Brandon Aubrey.
dumb.
That Missouri State, right? When you are using the urinals, you can still watch the football game. There is a field view of the game with urinals, so you can be rocking a piss and watching the game at the same time.
Thanks for that.
But you can.
Well, yeah, we know what you do in there.
But
we
like,
understand.
I think it's awesome. There's like these, you can see right here. These not these cameras. That'd be bad. These windows that you can just look straight at the field from.
Awesome.
And I also learned from this is by Andrew Stein. He pointed this out. There's a real good naming rights opportunity.
Oh yeah.
PNC. Oh jeez. PNC Bank. You can pee and see the game.
Yeah, we got that's actually really good. That's a great opportunity with a perfectly matched name and a sponsor. How do you not? Who says no to that?
Who says no to PNC?
You've got to absolutely do that. Yeah, I learned that too. I didn't realize that they had that. Michael, what'd you learn this weekend?
I don't really know how to top that. I think I learned to stop live tweeting. I tweeted out when it was 7-7. I said, I know it's 7-7, but the Chiefs are going to carve this Buffalo defense.
Nice job.
They're trash.
Well done.
And guess what?
What happened the rest of the way?
Yeah, exactly.
Did they do any carving?
In moments, yes. In moments. But overall, not a good day for the live tweeting.
Sporadic carving took place in that game. Yeah. That is a rough lesson to learn. Did you get people asking you, replying to you, oh, what, you got an update on that? What's happening now? Any bookmarks for that one?
Thank goodness I don't have enough followers.
That makes sense. Okay, well, there you go. That's why I don't typically live tweet at all.
Smart man.
Most of the time I'm, catching up on different plays too. So I go to...
I live tweet and I try and be positive.
When it goes to commercial break, I'm like, all right, now I'm sort of fast forwarding to get through these commercials to catch up from where I was at anyway. And then we're ready to go. So I don't have time to then go and live tweet. But funniest from the weekend, Sterling, we start with you.
Did you guys see the kicker for Oklahoma?
No.
The short shorts?
They are beyond short shorts. So you guys sometimes make fun of me. I wear a lot of 7-inch
buddy, they are not 7-inch.
Buddy.
7, check them out. Sometimes they're 5.
He knows that because he measures twice. But go ahead.
Sometimes they're 5. But these were more like 3-inchers, and Kirk Herbstreit goes, that should be a penalty. Just dressing like that should be a penalty. What the bleep is it? Wearing shorts out there?
Oh, my God. Yeah, I see him now.
Chris Fowler, short shorts, but not short on distance as he made a 51-yarder. Herbstreit then goes on to say, got his Daisy Dukes on and puts it right down the middle.
Those are...
I love it. On air, Herbstreit just goes, this guy's got his Daisy Dukes on and puts it right down the middle.
And he's good.
Just incredible.
Yeah, he's good. I have not seen this kid.
It's great. Those are the shortest shorts you will ever see a football player wear. I think, and I'll stand on that.
Yeah, stand on business. I see somebody has replied to that with the Saturday Night Live skit with Will Ferrell that walks out in the thong.
Yeah.
The American flag thong and the T-shirt that stops just below the chest. Sorry I'm late, gang.
I have one more from Mick.
Okay.
Since Mick's not here and we
Mick
have time.
And we have time.
I forgot I sent this one to Darcy on Friday.
Okay.
On Twitter. I was laughing at this one.
Okay. So you sent it to him Friday for something you learned over the weekend, but it was after the show on Friday?
It was after the show on Friday.
That counts. All right, what do we got?
You got paid and you earned it. Why don't you buy the young guy some stuff to put on this damn wall? Because you got all these nice-ass paintings. He got just regular white walls. Come on, man. If you're going to be a vet, lead by example, man. Buy that man something to put on the wall.
Listen, let me tell you something.
Thank you, Chuck.
Number 3 pick. He got, and do you see that Adidas on his chest? Hey, I know they're going to make sure he all right. I'm telling you. Everything else I got him, though. He know I got him.
So Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe
it's the 76ers.
are on a call with Charles Barkley. Charles is interviewing those two guys. You look at Tyrese Maxey's background. He's in like an office, but he's got some paintings on the wall and just some different stuff. VJ Edgecombe looks like he is in a hostage situation. It is just all white walls surrounding him, 2 lights, just can lights, just shining down on him. And so just very funny you got paid. Yeah. Why not buy the rookie some paintings or something? It does look like VJ Edgecombe is in a house with he probably just bought or something, and he has yet to put anything on that wall.
I think he's also got the money to be able to decorate his walls.
I just love Charles Barkley saying, so you got that big contract. Yeah. Now you earned it.
VJ has some money in his bank account, too, that he could put something on the walls. When COVID hit and we were doing Sunday Sound Off on location, which was just like our house, and we would Zoom for the for the show. I hadn't decorated the man cave yet, and so I had just the white walls behind me until it was Peter Yates Enoch that said something about, well, I've watched the Sunday Sun-Up. Jason looks like he's in a prison. Everybody else has stuff behind him as like bookshelves, and Jason has white wall behind him. Like, maybe I should hang some stuff there. Though.
I love Chuck getting into the players.
It's good. Funniest for you, Michael.
You know, I had a couple people comment on the podcast, and I want to think that these are genuinely 100% serious.
Probably not.
Trade for Myles Garrett, a first and Jalen Royals.
Why not? Who says no?
And then Priest Holmes has been looking in great game shape lately. Sign him. He's a free agent.
Yeah, he is available out there. I don't think that last one was serious.
But the first one I think was.
Yeah.
And that's not great.
Right, for sure. Funniest for me, I've got a couple actually. One for Mick and one for me.
Wow, Mick has a couple funniest.
Yes,
Good
Mick,
for him.
Let's abide by the rules. Let's abide by the rules, Mick. It's one per person. This came across my timeline. High school football game where the team on defense is up by 3. It's late third quarter, early fourth, around there. But the team on defense is up by 3. Team on offense down by 3 throws a pass in the flat that a linebacker cuts in front of and intercepts. He intercepts the ball. He gets hit by the guy, the running back that was in the flat. As he stays on his feet, he gets spun around, and he starts sprinting towards his own goal.
No.
They're up by 3. That would be a safety, and then they would get the ball back. Almost everybody on his team is like raising their hand like, what are you doing? Except for one guy that is sprinting down the sideline after him. And he gets close to him, and he dives around the 10-yard line and tackles the legs of his teammate, who gets tackled around the 8 or 9-yard line after the interception. The offense took over at that point at their own 8 or 9-yard line.
Oh, my gosh.
It was one of the best plays that you'll see a defensive player make on his own teammate. But, like, we saw one a long time ago where a guy intercepted and just ran the wrong way, right?
Yeah.
This guy was a little more understanding because he caught it, got hit, and spun around, kept his feet, and then took off. Like, the guy would be terrible at the game where you have to spin around on the bat a number of times
and then swing, yeah.
And then swing, yeah. He wouldn't be good at that.
Dizzy bat.
But heads-up play by the dude running down the sideline and catching that guy. And he had to dive to get his feet, too.
Wow.
It wasn't just like he caught him and tackled him. He had to dive and swipe at his feet, and the guy got tackled. It would have been a safety. They'd have been up by 1, and the other team would have got the ball back. But not what happened. It's one of my funniest. And the other one was, I didn't get the audio for this. I should have. But Rico Dowdle doing the Key and Peele sketch.
Yes.
Where the 2 thrusts is not a penalty, but 3 thrusts is a penalty. He scored the touchdown. He got his offensive line around, and they did 2 hip thrusts. And they threw the penalty on him.
I know. I was like,
it's like, no.
That's not the rules.
That's not the rules.
It's 3.
It's supposed to be 3 pumps.
Hingle McCringleberry did 2, and it's allowed. It's the 3rd.
Hingle McCringleberry. I love that. Yeah, you get the 3 pumps get you a 15-yard penalty. Apparently 2. 2 pumps got you a penalty.
I don't love that the NFL is like, this is what people want. Let's crack down on this. Let's crack down on taunting. No, how about you get a call right and know when a ball's batted down on intentional grounding? Maybe get that one
tipped.
right, Carl Jeffers. You dumbass.
The ball is
but
tipped.
I don't know.
There's no reviewable aspect of that play.
I just love that fans are like, hey, can we maybe get some of these calls correct? And the refs are like, we got you. We know what you want. No more hip thrusts in the end zone. Don't celebrate. Oh, you want us to be better when it comes to pass interference calls?
Okay,
you
we can see that it's a tip ball on a pass interference. We'll pick up the flag on a pass interference if it's a tip ball. That's obvious.
No, how about instead of getting calls right, what we're going to do is if you flex on a guy after making a great play, 15-yarder automatically.
That makes sense, actually.
I hate that. Let him flex a little bit. Like, what game was that? Was that the Panthers game? I forget what game it was. Maybe it was Sunday night football. Whatever it was, a guy made a really good play, and he kind of got like a little flex. He didn't get in the dude's grill. He wasn't in there like celebrating in his face. He gave him a quick little whoo, and then walked away, and there's the flag. I'm just like, no one cares. No fan has ever said, "Yeah, flag that man."
Oh, actually, you know what?
Lions fans, I think, did. Yeah, Lions fans, yes.
fans cried for 2 weeks about Patrick Mahomes spinning the ball away from Brian Branch and then swiping his jersey and flexing while running off the field. That should have been 4 taunting penalties and 60 yards because that's how it works. So I can't agree with the no fans because Lions fans lost their collective beliefs
31
over
other
that.
fan bases are sitting here going, no one cares. Refs, we now see why you're so buns. You're looking for taunting instead of holding calls. Like, get your have some sort of normalcy to this.
Normalized taunting, is that what you're saying?
Normalized taunting a little bit to an extent. Like, I get it. I don't love when all the players do it, but I don't think you should be penalized for it.
Yeah. Best from the weekend. What was the best for you, Michael?
I mean, the best has to be the World Series. Game 7 was just electric.
Amazing.
I do have a little bit of a unique take. So last time we did Learn Funniest Best, it was Monday.
Yep,
and Will
that's
Klein
typically.
ended up pitching on Monday night, I guess technically Tuesday night. And I actually had the opportunity back when he was drafted by the Royals to interview him, and I literally was like 16, 17 years old, holding my phone up to the microphone. It's kind of cool to see him, pitch 4 scoreless innings with 5 strikeouts in the World Series, and then he just went out a champion.
Yeah, and probably because you interviewed him, right?
Probably not.
I mean,
I was going to say we both come a long way, but I think he's gone much farther.
It's fine. It's but in your respective careers, though,
we've both become professionals. Maybe.
Yes, right. You both are. You're both playing in the majors.
We're both pitchers.
You're both playing in the majors here. You're both playing at the highest level that you can play at. Good for you. My best from the weekend. Game 7 is part of it. Certainly, there were so many storylines from the entire World Series. It was amazing. You've got, the Blue Jays with a picture that will be heartbreaking and gut-wrenching forever for Blue Jays fans, in the IKF being about 3 inches away from the plate when Will Smith puts his foot back on home plate with the grounder to second. And I love all the debate that happens from it, right? Because he didn't get a good enough secondary. You don't need to slide it home. You've got to run through the bag. Just like, do you slide into first? Well, no, they tell you don't slide into first, right? Why? Well, because it slows you down. So if you don't slide into first, why would you slide into home when it is a force out? So why are you sliding into home in a force out? Well, some of those things are you're taught to do that because if they're going pitcher, they're going 1, 2, 3 double play, or that'd be second, so it'd be 4, 2, 3. Either way, if you're going home to first in a double play, you're taught to slide to maybe take out the catcher's legs so that they can't, which is why the catcher catches it and then steps out towards the field. So we get that whole conversation. Rojas hitting the game tire. Scherzer starting Game 7. Yamamoto coming out and pitching back-to-back games and doing that. There were so many different amazing things from that. So that's part of my best. But then also, we find out yesterday, Michael got himself a Gold Glove. So Michael Garcia and Bobby Witt, Gold Glove winners. The first left side of the infield Gold Glove winners for the same team since Josh Hardy and Manny Machado 12 years ago for the Baltimore Orioles. So Michael Garcia and Bobby Witt getting their Gold Gloves. Thought that was pretty cool. And now there's Platinum Glove voting going on. So we'll see if either Bobby or Michael will win the Platinum Glove at their respective positions. So it would be Ke'Bryan Hayes and who got the shortstop Gold Glove for the National League? Damn it. Oh, man.
I don't know off the top of my head.
Yep, I'll think of it. What was your best?
Well, the World Series game. I was just incredible. We were watching the Lowe's Hotel. We just got done with an auction. I'd ordered drinks. I realized that I had left, my mom and I both left our wallets in the car, so we had to go and find a guy I could Venmo. Found out it was the GM of the Jazz's brother, and so I found myself Venmoing that guy.
Mason Wynn,
really nice, nice guy. I like him a lot. Every once in a while, I'll see him at some places. But found a guy to Venmo, got Venmo, so I could actually pay for my drinks because I realized I left both my wallets in the car. At one point, I was like, I can write a check. I'm good for it. Like, I'll give you an IOU. I'll come back. I just don't want to walk to the car and give you that. I want to watch this game right now. So I found a way to pay for my drinks. That was great. So that was fun. I think the worst, real quick, might be I looked it up. So I hope there's not like a whole bunch of meaning behind it. And I'm glad for Miguel Rojas for what he did. That like Kendra Scott looking necklace. I don't know why. Why do players? Why are you wearing jewelry while you're playing a game? I'll never understand that.
You look good, feel good, play good, babe.
I guess.
Come on, man.
I can't.
Come on
say,
out.
it has to be good luck because he played a great game. I was happy for him in a game so improbable the impossible happened with Miguel Rojas being the guy to make all those plays.
Yeah.
My other kind of best was Anthony Edwards sitting on the bench, suspended a game by the team, and he was chirping the refs and goes, "Oh my gosh, what foul!" Just beside himself, getting after the refs. Then he looks at the replay, goes to the ref and goes, "Hey, good call, that's my bad." He starts laughing, going,
That's good.
He's like, "You're right, that's on me. That's a good call." I just love it when the players are like, "Okay, that's fine." And then at one point, a guy for the Lakers were cooking him. I don't even know the guy's name. And someone in the background was yelling, "Who's number 12?" And Anthony Edwards goes, "That's what I'm trying to figure out." Even he didn't know who was cooking the T-Wolves in that game. So just him being hilarious on the sidelines.
Amazing. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, wrap up the show. Jerry Jones on Sirius XM 10 minutes ago said that the Dallas Cowboys have made a trade, but will not say who the trade is.
Ooh.
Said they are also looking at making other deals. The only thing he will say about the trade is that immediately it will have him on the field. And addressing some of the things that have been our shortcomings is what Jerry Jones said. So there's another trade somewhere, and we'll see who that particular player is. Jalen Phillips has been traded. The 49ers and the Cowboys have been interested in Bradley Chubb and interested in Jermaine Johnson. So it could be that Bradley Chubb is heading to Dallas, or Jermaine Johnson is heading to Dallas. Jalen Phillips from the Dolphins is now a Philadelphia Eagle. Josh Simmons has returned to the Kansas City Chiefs. He is at the team facility today. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. We're about 25 hours away from the trade deadline. Jalen Phillips has been moved from the Dolphins to the Eagles for a third-rounder, the lesser of the 2 third-rounders the Eagles have, so their own third-rounder.
Again, would you have made that move?
You would have to believe that he is the player he was before the Achilles and the ACL. I don't think the Chiefs are in the position of trading first and second day picks right now with what they still have to do to continue building this team.
And believe that Spags would actually use him.
Well, that's a good point, too. Yes. Jerry Jones on SiriusXM said that the Dallas Cowboys have made a trade, will not say who the player is, but did say they will immediately have him on the field, which is impossible because they play tonight. So so thank you to Drake that pointed that out. So I don't know that he immediately, I don't know that you know what this word means.
He literally is going to play immediately.
Inconceivable. I don't think you know what this word means. Inconceivable. Bradley Chubb has been rumored to be on the move from the Dolphins. They may be in fire sale. They fire their GM. The interim GM is like, let me get to work here. Let me trade. You want Jalen Phillips? You got Bradley Chubb? We got Jalen right here.
It's the best
maybe
spot
Jalen Waddle
for the GM to be in because now you bought yourself 5 years.
Well, I mean,
you have yourself
the interim
fire sale.
He's the interim. He's not even an actual GM.
Well,
he's
how
the
can you tell what I've done? I
Yeah.
need 5 years to see to reap what I've sowed.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll certainly talk more about this Kansas City Chiefs team. They've got the bye this week. Josh Simmons is back. We'll see if he is able to go in 13 days. If he was recovering from an injury and missed 4 games, you'd be like, all right, he's back, good to go. I don't see why it would be any different with a quote-unquote personal matter, because if you're a professional, you're still working out and should be ready to go. Rashee Rice was brought along slowly. You can't do that with an offensive lineman, but you got Nick Bonito out there for the Denver Broncos. We'll see. Program, Srim Petro coming up next.